It's the 4th-ranked team against the 5th-ranked team, Virginia and North Carolina. You know, the matchups in a close game like this become real critical. I had a chance to talk to Coach Willie Scroggs earlier, and I asked him pointedly, I said, who do you fear most on this Virginia team, and why?
I think the question is a very difficult question to answer. I don't want to slight any of the other kids on University of Virginia's team. We think they've got any number of kids that are very, very dangerous. I don't like to say that we're afraid of any of them. We have a lot of respect for them. But number 12, Scott Garham, has been a kid in my career as a coach at North Carolina, has always played very well against us, and is always somebody that can do some things that you just can't plan on. And I think if he has a real good game, we're going to be in trouble.
You know, Scotty Garham is a great All-American for Virginia, and he can score a lot of goals and change the complexion of a game. You saw him practice there as we were talking to Willie Scroggs. I also talked to Coach Ace Adams and asked him the same question. It was very interesting what he came up with. Here's his answer.
It's hard to single out one player on an outstanding team such as North Carolina, but I feel that Randy Cox has certainly been one of the outstanding athletes in lacrosse in the last 3 or 4 years. Certainly he's been a thorn in our side every year we've played him. I think Randy can take the ball away from the players. He can ride, he can clear, he can take the ball down and shoot. He has excellent size and speed, agility, stick work, all the attributes that you want to see in an outstanding lacrosse player and athlete. We're certainly glad this is our last time that we'll have to see him against Virginia.
So we're talking about Randy Cox, who's captain of the North Carolina team, being a defenseman, but still being able to turn the complexion of a game around because he's such a great athlete. It should be a great game.
So we'll see if Virginia can maintain their dominance over North Carolina. They've won the last 2 meetings. Stay tuned. We'll be back in a moment with the starting lineup. Welcome back to Charlottesville, Virginia. Bob Smith along with Lee Felsmo. Now let's take a look at the starting lineups in this Division I quarterfinal game. First of all, the attack for North Carolina. Number 12, Mac Ford from Timonium, Maryland. Number 27, Gary Seibold from Parkton, Maryland. And number 43, Brent Vocal from Baltimore, Maryland. They'll be going against the veteran defense for Virginia. Number 15, Chris Walker from Pasadena, Maryland. Number 21, Scott Lynn from Massapequa, New York. And number 33, Kurt Metzler from Franklin Square, New York. Lee?
Bob, the story here would be the North Carolina attack, which lost 3 of their top guns last year, led now by Mac Ford, the only returning starter, high school All-American out of Gilman, of course, you remember him. But this attack really has to get it together and start pumping the goals, probably going against Kurt Metzler, the defensive star and captain for Virginia.
The best part of this game today could be the midfielders. For North Carolina, number 6, Steve Martell from Baltimore. Number 14, Terry Martinello from Windsor, Ontario, Canada. And number 24, Joey Seibold from Parkton, Maryland. On midfield for Virginia, number 12, Scott Garham. He'll face off from Massapequa, Long Island. Number 14, Audie Mormon from Melville, New York. And number 29, that will be starting for the first time, Steve Crawford from Marion, Pennsylvania.
Well, Virginia's got a lot of experience here. Scott Garham is a second-team All-American, and he's got 9 goals on the season, a 6-foot senior. He's a co-captain with Audie Mormon. This is a real veteran unit, and they could really carry this Virginia squad.
On defense, an excellent defensive unit for North Carolina. Number 13, Tommy Haas from Ruxton, Maryland. Number 35, Randy Cox from Holbrook, New York. And number 46, Chris Walker from St. James, New York. They'll be trying to hold down a high-scoring attack for Virginia. Number 6, Roddy Marino from Massapequa, Long Island. Number 10, Jeff Nicholas from Syosset, New York. And number 17, Paul French from Niagara-on-the-Lake, Ontario, Canada.
Well, this defensive unit of North Carolina, Bob, has really come into its own for the North Carolina team. Randy Cox heads it up. He's a senior, 200-pound captain out of Holbrook, New York, and he is a good one. I tell you, they're going against an attack that can score some goals, too. Watch for Cox to be set up against Roddy Marino.
Of course, the keys here could also be in the goal. We're playing on AstroTurf, and that's very important to goalies. And for North Carolina, that's number 11, Tim Mealey. He's from Annapolis, Maryland. And for Virginia, it'll be number 31, J.B. Meyer from Manhasset, Long Island. So stay tuned. We'll be back in a moment with the opening face-off. Well, the crowd is building here in Charlottesville, and so is the tension as we begin the playoffs, Division I playoffs in NCAA lacrosse. Bob Smith once again with Lee Felsmo. And Lee, I think that everybody here, and it's a good crowd, looks like maybe 4,000 or 5,000 already, is looking forward to a high-scoring, exciting game.
No question it's going to be exciting, Bob. These teams played about 3 weeks ago, and it ended in overtime. It was a 12-11 game. The winning goal scored in overtime by Jeff Nicholas. And last time they played on this field in a playoff game, it was also an overtime game. Virginia won that one 11-10. So it's bound to be close. They're both ranked right butt-to-butt 4th and 5th NCAA Division I rankings.
Both of these goalies play all of their home games on AstroTurf. Tim Mealey down at Fetzer Field in North Carolina, and J.B. Meyer here, of course, at the University of Virginia. University of Virginia in white with orange numerals, North Carolina in Carolina blue with white numerals. And we're going to see the traditional handshake of the goalies. We're just about set for the opening face-off. To bring you up to date on playoff action around the country, earlier today, Johns Hopkins eliminated the University of Delaware 10-3. Not an unexpected outcome.
Bob, if the captains have anything to do with the outcome, Virginia's in real good shape. They've got 4 captains to 1 for North Carolina. Randy Cox heads up that chore for North Carolina. That team's has graduated last year. They graduated 12 lettermen. 6 of those were All-Americans for North Carolina. They lost a lot of firepower, but boy, there's a lot left.
Facing off for North Carolina, number 26, Andy Smith. And for University of Virginia, number 12, Scott Garham. Just about set for quarterfinal action here from Charlottesville, Scott Stadium. And the first face-off controlled by Adi Moorman for University of Virginia. Carolina tries to move the ball upfield quickly, however, an errant pass. And we'll watch to see if Carolina settles down a little bit, and they do. Carolina likes to run and gun, but this first offensive thrust, they may, however, just hold the ball momentarily and see if Virginia goes into a zone or man-to-man.
Well, typically in playoff action, that's what will happen. The 2 teams will feel each other out, kind of work for that ball control, let the offense settle down.
Smith feeds in quickly. A shot and a nice save by Meyer on a good cut inside by Mac Ford. And here come the Cavaliers.
You know, Bob, Mac Ford probably wants to bounce that ball a little more. That one was a real cold shot right in the chest of the goalie.
Crawford quickly up to Scott Garham. Garham pulls back out to see what kind of a defense Carolina's in. Carolina frequently will use a zone defense.
They're in a zone right now, it looks like. Let's see if they rotate as they send cutters through for Virginia. But you see them all now standing in a position. Looks like a standard 2-3 zone or 3-3 zone.
Virginia with 2-2-2. 2 men down inside the crease. They'll set up a good screen for the outside shot as Roddy Marino brings it back out to Scott Garham. Garham over to Adi Moorman. And Moorman goes over the side to Jeff Nicholas. Virginia in no hurry at this point. They want to try to draw Carolina out of that zone. Now Carolina drops back out and plays a man tough behind. That's Randy Cox going back behind the goal. And Virginia just bouncing around on the crease, pulling a man off, dropping a man back down inside.
You see the way the zone's set up. They got 2 men out high, 3 men across the crease, and then Randy Cox goes back and pressures the ball.
And that's what happens. You throw the ball 10, 15, 16 times. You run up your percentage, your opportunity of throwing the ball away, and that's what Virginia did then, without getting a shot off.
Randy Cox at 6'2", 200 pounds, and you heard the pregame talk about him. He's an amazing athlete. When he comes charging back on that back line at you, you tend to get a little bit nervous and rush your pass.
Right now, Virginia drops back in a deep zone right at the midfield line, and they'll give it to a midfielder to bring up. That will be Joey Seibold. Seibold should clear the ball easily across the midfield line. Not much of a defense for Virginia in that ride. Carolina clears easily. They'll try to feed a man cutting the crease. Carolina will cut the crease almost constantly. The man pulling back out now with the ball.
If you watched, I'm sorry, Bob, if you watched our home team sports presentation last week and saw the Syracuse game, you saw a team a lot like this North Carolina team is when they're doing what they want to do, and that's running and gunning.
Brent Vogel moving against Chris Walker. They try to feed a cutter coming off the wing, and the ball picked off neatly over there by one of the big defenders for Virginia. But, however, he does not get it back upfield. He has to go back to Meyer. The yellow lines on the field are the lacrosse lines, what I mentioned to you. I assume that's yellow, Leaf, because I'm colorblind.
Well, there are yellow lines on the field. There are also blue lines, and there's red lines, and there's green field. So we have all the colors represented.
Well, the yellow lines are the lacrosse fielders. Larry Ledoyne, the big horse from St. Paul's School in Timonium, Maryland, clears the ball for Virginia.
Keep an eye on Larry Ledoyne, Bob. He's had an injury to his leg all season long. He hasn't played at full strength. They feel he's back to 100% right now, but he's a guy they need to have full strength. 9
goals and 5 assists. He gives it off quickly to John Gillen. A midfield of John Gillen, Larry Ledoyne, and number 11, Mark Ultimus in right now for Virginia.
You know, number 4, Larry Ledoyne, in high school, 9 and 5 was a good day's work for him. That guy was a scoring machine back then.
The light a little tough right now for the goalies. The excellent lighting here at Scott Stadium has not taken over as the sun settles down. This is probably the toughest time of the day for a goalie, and also, I might add, for our cameraman. Bringing it right in now, number 32, Gillen. He puts it off on the side. Virginia, once again, does not appear to be making anything happen. Now, quick feed inside, knocked down on a cut by number 17, Paul French, off the crease. They'll be playing the ball out of bounds, and the ball will go back over to North Carolina.
I think the pace is a little bit surprising right now. What we're seeing is a very slow-tempoed game, a game that Virginia would like to get into, this very dictated slow tempo game. They don't want North Carolina to run and gun and get a few goal lead. They want this slow tempo, and they're being very, very patient against the zone defense, which is what you have to do.
The officials group represented here is Bob Sandell from Virginia, Ron Wilson from North Carolina, and Scott Boyle from the Maryland group. So we have a panorama of officials for tonight's game.
I tell you, it's turned into a great night, too. The temperature's just right, very, very comfortable, and the wind's died down.
Excellent crowd here at Scott. Quickly over now to Chris Walker, and then back to Mealey. Mealey looks up, finds Randy Hoffman. A nice check laid in there by Virginia defenseman, and we're going to see the ball will go back over to the University of Virginia. Number 24 for Virginia. That would be a riding defenseman, John Begier. Checked the ball out of Randy Cox's stick.
He did.
Cavaliers get possession.
What a fantastic job. Randy Cox is the guy that can do it all. You got to shut him off as soon as you can, because not only can he clear the ball with great stick work, but he can take a shot. He was 5-2 last year, Bob. 5 goals, 2 assists. A lot of midfielders would like to have that much success.
LeDoyne gets it off over to Rich Rita now on midfield. Rich Rita, John Gillen, and number 4, Larry LeDoyne in on midfield for the Cavaliers. We've got 10 minutes and 55 seconds remaining here in the first quarter. There's no score if you're just tuning our way. For Division I quarterfinal game, we'll be carrying the semifinals also on Sunday. The winner of this game will be playing Johns Hopkins University in Baltimore. That'll be at 2 o'clock airtime. Almost an overthrow. Virginia looks very tentative here.
They are tentative. They're going to have to make something happen, because North Carolina is going to be real content to stay in that zone and just make them take an outside shot. That's what this defense wants you to do. They want you to take an outside shot, 15 to 20 yards, and let their goalie pick it up.
Ball French pulled off the crease. Gillen fires, and you saw Mealey leap at that ball as it bounced high over top the goal off the turf.
Again, that's the shot that defense is saying, go ahead, take it. They feel their goalie, Tim Mealey, can save those.
Tim Mealey with a 70% save percentage coming into this game. And that's good in anybody's league. Back now out to the side to LeDoyne. And once again, Virginia pulls out wide, trying to draw Carolina out of the zone. Carolina stays in it. Virginia's going to have to cut a couple of men down through that zone to the crease to force Carolina to make a rotation. Ball back behind now. Out to the side. LeDoyne has a shot from there. Rolls in, beats a double team, and has the ball checked away. Tries to keep it in play. Carolina picks it up, and a good hit on the side. Another good hit. And we'll see which way possession goes. It goes over to Virginia.
I tell you, they traded hits there.
North Carolina that I see now that will go over to.
Looks like Boyd Harden for North Carolina was the one that really applied the hit that made the ball go out of bounds and give it back to North Carolina. But prior to that, number 6, Roddy Marino, came in there and laid a good hit on the defenseman. Here it is right here. We're taking it on the screen. You can see it. There it is, number 33, Boyd Harden. He's 5'10", 165, but he looked like he was weighing about 200 coming in there full strength.
Hits like a linebacker. Now back over to Mealey. And Mealey has a midfielder on the near side of the field. That's number 24, Joey Seibold. They'll try to get the ball to Seibold as Virginia's working a trap in the corners on their ride. Mealey's going to have to bring it up to the midfield line himself to draw the slide. Gets it over nicely, however. And North Carolina has the ball cleared.
Virginia has the long sticks unit in. That means they've got 6 players playing with long defensive sticks, trying to cut down that explosive North Carolina attack. Both these teams, Bob, average 13 goals a game and allow an average of 7.
In on midfield now, number 26, Andy Smith. As you hear them holler, give him some pressure. Don't let him stand and run. Number 24, Joey Seibold, also in on that unit, along with number 6, Steve Martell. Carolina moves the ball quickly. There, that's a long pass, Lee, to try to complete about a 40-yard pass. Good check. And the ball back out front of the cutter. Andy Smith does not get the feed, however. Picked off inside. Still no control. Carolina maintains loose ball possession. Terry Martinello with the loose ball. High shot over top of the cage. Backed up by North Carolina. They'll get possession back. We want to remind you that it's the man closest to the point where the ball goes out of bounds. When it does so, that gets possession on a shot.
There's a nice shot of the sideline. North Carolina bench a little bit tight right now. The game has not been the run and gun game that we expected. Both teams taking their time, working a very patterned, deliberate offense.
Terry Martinello with the ball. Picked up over there by Scott Lynn.
A lot of you Maryland fans on Home Team Sports might remember the Martinello brothers. Played for the University of Maryland for many years.
Ron Martinello played for Maryland, was an All-American midfielder and attackman for the Terrapins. Also on the Canadian World Team. Here comes Andy Smith. His father, a long-time assistant coach at the University of Maryland, Rennie Smith. Quick feed inside to cut off the crease. And an errant feed, picked off nicely by Chris Walker. Throws it away, however. Carolina with control, and they are hitting all over the field tonight. Walker gets it up quickly. Up to John Begier. Begier gets it off to Marty Marino. He's in trouble, finds an open man on the far side, Jeff Nicholas. The attack has to help out on these clears, and that's exactly what Virginia's attack did this time.
I'll tell you what, the riding and clearing might open this game up. They start to get a little bit physical. They start hitting and passing and throwing, and when these teams start getting a little bit loose, they'll start playing their game.
Randy Cox putting a lot of pressure on Roddy Marino over on the far side. However, he gets it off nicely to Scotty Garham. 7:07 remaining here in the first quarter. There's no score. Once again, Virginia in white jerseys with orange numerals, and North Carolina in Carolina blue with white numerals.
I'm going to make a guess right here, Bob, that the second half will be 180 degrees in this first half. I think they're going to come out and really get the game moving in the second half once this pattern game kind of settles both teams down.
Garham shoots. Bounces high over. Long feed back out. Here comes Audie Mormon. He wants to crank. He cranks a burner, picked off by Mealey. Good save by Timmy Mealey.
Great save by Timmy Mealey. If you're from the St. Mary's, Annapolis area, you remember him. He was a high school All-American.
Martell to Randy Cox. He can shoot from here. He'll look in far. He scores!
Randy Cox, we talked about him in the pregame. He's the captain of that team, the guy that leads the team at 6'2", 200. We talked about Ace Adams and how he feared Randy Cox handling the ball. And would you believe it? He comes down and scores the first goal of the game. We'll take a look at it. Beautiful shot. Watch Randy Cox. He looks to his left to pull that defenseman just to freeze him. The defenseman's going back too far. It gives him a little bit of an opening. He cranks up and goes high right over top of the goalie, J.B. Myers. Another shot right here. Randy Cox, great athlete, picks it up. Now he's going to wait for a defenseman to pick him up. Now watch. He's looking for the defenseman to come. He doesn't come, so he fires a nice, high, hard shot.
Back to live action. Face-off rolling clear. Nobody picks it up. Now controlled by number 16 for North Carolina, and that's Kevin Gilligan in the game for the first time tonight.
All the shots by North Carolina, Bob, have been high, hard shots. They haven't gone down to the turf. Again, AstroTurf gives you a true bounce, so they want to get the high, hard shot to try to take advantage of J.B. Myers up around the shoulder area.
Over to Brent Vogel. Vogel tries to roll in. He wants to come back with his left hand. Good defense being played there by Chris Walker. Takes the ball away from Vogel, but backed up nicely by Gilligan. They look inside. Quick feed across the crease. Knocked down by one of the defensemen, or possibly the goalie. The ball rolling towards the end line. Kept in play, but played out of bounds, actually, by number 21, Scott Lynn. So North Carolina will get possession.
And here come the long sticks. Ace Adams is putting that long sticks midfield unit in for his team, led by Mark Pellington. He's 6'5", 215, a real big boy, a senior. He'll come in there. These long sticks, I have 6 of them now, to try to slow down that North Carolina transition game.
All the way on the back line, Mac Ford. He puts it back out to the side, and they put it back out front. Nice poke check, over the head move. Takes the ball away. Good move out there by John Begier. But North Carolina gets the ball back. They're getting all the ground balls here. Number 10, James Kester, in on midfield now. We have not seen some of these players before. If you saw Carolina early in the year, I have not seen James Kester play. Now, quick feed back, and Carolina pulls back. Carolina running with their heads up at all times, looking for that quick feed inside. Sweep, and he misses the check. Overhead check. Does dislodge the ball at the last minute. We're going to have a penalty call coming up. We'll see what it's going to be.
Well, that was a sweep play by John Begier.
That'll be a blow to the head, and North Carolina will have their first extra man opportunity, I believe.
Bob, at halftime, we're going to have an opportunity to talk about some of these penalties. Slashing, your head is protected. Here's another shot of it. You can't hit the player in the head, face mask, or neck. Hopefully we can talk about that for a few minutes at half.
We see now that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, count them up. That must have been a moving pick call and a loose ball, because there is no extra man situation at this point. Referee Scott Boyle puts the hammer to the head as we see a high shot over top of J.B. Meyer. That ordinarily looks like a blow to the head, but that wasn't the call, so everybody's all even.
If you saw that play, you saw Mark Pellington run right over top of the North Carolina ball player as he took that shot from about 20 yards high. That bounce shot, that was the one reason why you don't take those hard bounce shots, because they have a good tendency to go over the goal. You want to keep it in real tight to the crease, preferably in the air. Back out front now to number 29, Timmy Welsh. For Carolina, Welsh wants his right hand. He'll come back in, tries to feed in the crease, and no movement towards the ball, so the ball bounces loose. Meyer tries to trap it. Gets back up nicely by Martinella. He feeds backside, and that ball gets through Kester and will go out of bounds, and Virginia will gain possession.
Carolina very successful in feeding backside. The flow going to one side of the goal, they look and feed back to the open man on the far side, and they usually are very successful at that time. The pass a little short. 4:27 remaining here in the first quarter. It's Carolina 1, Virginia nothing.
A lot of times what happens there, just like any other sport, Bob, you start looking at the goal, you start looking past catching the ball. You take your eye off it, consequently you miss it.
Trying to leg it clear. John Gillen trying to get up across the midfield line. He's going to be trapped. He'll have to turn back. 2, 3, 4 men after him. Gillen still controls, and you heard that hit. Nice golf shot by Gillen as he gets it back to J.B. Meyer. Meyer finds an open man at the midfield. With all the Carolina guys chasing, that means there had to be somebody open to the midfield line. Here they come. Jeff Nicholas rolling in. He tries to feed or shoot across the top of the cage. Was out of bounds, backed up by Virginia.
We can thank Chris Walker for that. He's a freshman. That was a heady play by him. He's 6'3", and he had just enough reach to get in there and break up that pass. But Virginia did one heck of a job clearing up past North Carolina's pressure.
Roddy Marino put it in behind the cage. Tommy Haas will be playing D on him.
Let's see if Virginia does anything different, Bob. They're one goal down. They can still keep their pattern offense, but they've got to get some shots. That's the key. They haven't taken enough shots yet to make any sort of significant difference in the game.
The only goal in the game so far scored by defenseman Randy Cox for North Carolina. Virginia driving to the cage. They try to feed backside also. Here comes LeDoyne. He can crank it from there. He's got a good, strong right hand. Passes up a shot. Feeds point behind. They feed the crease. A shot off the pipe. No goal. That ball deflected off the pipe with a quick stick inside. And Carolina got to break that time.
That was a great shot. You saw heady Randy Cox take the ball and bounce it right back to his goalie and put it back in play for North Carolina.
Ball checked away from Lynn. Hops back into his stick. He needs a lot of help, however. Still no control. Going back to Gary Seibold.
Scott Lynn might have made a mistake there, Bob. He was handling the ball, the defenseman. That long stick, you can make a couple fakes, but you shouldn't press your luck. He pressed his luck and then lost the ball. North Carolina.
North Carolina sets up with Andy Smith out about 25 yards. He gives it off on the side over to number 12, Mac Ford. And Ford's going to take the ball back, point behind, look for a cutter. Rolls inside, comes clear, has the ball checked away at the last minute. And it's going to be a crease violation, and Virginia will gain possession.
That crease area around the goal is solely for the use of the defense and goalie. And of course, if an attack man or a midfielder trespasses, the ball changes possession.
They couldn't find anybody to play the goal if it wasn't for the crease.
I tell you, it's tough out there these days. In the old days, with all the sticks, there's a good shot of the Virginia sideline as 32 comes off the field. That's John Gillen. In the old days, Bob, the shots weren't as hard, weren't as accurate because they had wooden sticks. But these days, with that stamped-out stick that's so true and everyone's the same, scores have doubled and shots have doubled. These goalies don't get paid enough.
They can generate up to 90 miles an hour on a shot with the new plastic sticks. And they say new, they've been in about 10 or 12 years now, so they're not that new. But they keep improving on them. Back now to Nicholas. Nicholas on the far side over to Marino.
Nice bounce pass on the turf. You see that happen the teams that play their home games. They get to use that turf and get a good feel for it.
We played Leaf. All our passes were bounce passes.
But not by design.
At the Crawford. Crawford back to Nicholas. Nicholas looking as he runs. Feeds out front. Man up on the wing. Crawford. And a great save by Mealey.
That was a fantastic save by Mealey. It was offside shot. He got it with his arm, his shoulder, and he kept that scoreless trend for Virginia. That was a great play by Mealey. Here he is controlling the clear.
Long outlet pass. Man open is number 13, Tommy Haas. He comes in. Now we see number 41, actually.
Pat McDonald on the long sticks.
And Carolina will hold the ball while they get a couple of defensemen off and a couple of more attackmen on.
Mealey made one heck of a save. There's a sideline for North Carolina. That kind of save can really spark a team. Maybe it'll get North Carolina back into their run and gun.
Pull it back out midfield now for North Carolina. Number 26, Andy Smith. Number 24, Joey Seibold. And number 6, Steve Martell.
Watch 24, Joey Seibold. He's an honorable mention All-American. They might try to get the ball to him.
Men rotating off the crease. 3 men rotating off the crease, setting a screen. However, nobody comes open. They'll put it back to Brent Vogel. Vogel puts it back behind Andy Smith. Smith in an invert with Scotty Garham playing him. Pulls back out front. 2 men cut off the crease. Shot doesn't get off. It's actually checked away at the last minute before it actually became a shot. And here comes Virginia. Adi Mormon with the ball.
Boy, Scotty Garham played him tough, didn't he, Bob? He was all over with the stick. Very borderline penalty on that. Almost a hold.
We're going to look at that later at halftime. Get a chance to look at some of the penalties up close. We'll see exactly what a hold is. The crowd here, very partisan. They see Garham rolling in. Underhand pass to the back side to Jeff Nicholas. Nicholas goes point behind, looking in front. Cannot feed the crease once again. Ball pops high in the air. Virginia looking to cut to the crease. Man comes open inside. The pass doesn't get through. A lot of sticks hanging inside in that zone, Leaf. Tough to pass from behind the goal.
That's right. They're baiting you. They're trying to make you come with the cross-field pass or force the crease. And when you do, they cut it down.
Less than 10 seconds remaining here in the first quarter. It's been Carolina 1, Virginia nothing most of this quarter. Clock winding down as Carolina brings it up across the midfield line, and that will be the end of the first quarter. With the score, North Carolina 1 and Virginia nothing. Stay tuned. We'll be back after a brief message. Welcome back to Scott Stadium. Bob Smith along with Lee Felsmo. And Leaf, let's take a look at that last save. It was sensational on the part of Tim Mealey.
Well, it really was. Virginia hasn't had too many shots, but here's one good shot they did have right in on the goal. Watch this. Mealey comes up. He doesn't quite get a clean stick on it, but he lunges his body right in position and knocks it back the other way. Great save by Tim Mealey.
Tim Mealey is only 5'8", 145 pounds, but he's playing like he's 6'3" tonight.
Well, he's a high school All-American, and again, you may remember him from Annapolis area, the St. Mary's High School. They had a great team, champions that year.
Opening face-off of the second quarter, controlled by Steve Martell for Carolina. He rolls in, puts it back behind. North Carolina has controlled the tempo here. We're about the middle of the first quarter on. Now they have 4 men in front of the cage, rotating off. They split back out now and set up in a loosely assembled 2-2-2.
Well, Virginia hasn't had a chance to get their long sticks in the game. Let's see if North Carolina works something in the midfield and try to get a good midfield shot off.
Steve Martell, number 6 with the ball, trying to catch a cutter. That's Vocal coming around. Vocal runs through 2 defensemen. Ball still controlled by North Carolina. They are getting a loose ball, and it's the team that gets the loose ball will win the ball game. That almost always works, and there it is.
Number 14, Terry Martinello, waiting on the wing, got a nice pass from his teammate out front, and bounces a shot past the goalie, J.B. Meyer, to get the second goal of the game. A real sweet play. They keep this pace up. It'll be a low-scoring game, but it'll be a win. Now watch, 23 feeds it across. Martinello takes it right away, left-handed, sizes up the goal, and bounces it right past Meyer. Usually on the true turf, that's one he'll be able to save, but that time it got in. Every goal is important in the game this slow, Bob. Now 2-0. Let's see if the tempo starts to change.
Number 23, Harry McCambridge, the young man on the assist, a freshman from Gilman in Baltimore. Face-off controlled by John Gillen. Gillen looks for the fast break. Rich Rita. Rita fires, and another outstanding save by Mealey, and he's playing tough tonight.
I tell you, a goalie can make you or break it. Right now, Tim Mealey's got the hot hand.
Fast break coming this way. Steve Martell coming in 4-on-3 for Carolina. Looks for the point. They fire high, knocked out by one of the defensemen. Then you had Sag back in. 2 side men. The only available shot there taken by Brent Vocal. Now we've got the running gun game we thought we were going to have. Here comes Rich Rita for Virginia. Puts it over to Landon Hilliard. He'll put it back out to Rita, and now Virginia will slow play down. Again,
Small sticks in for North Carolina. So let's see if Virginia now takes the opportunity to work something in their offensive half of the field, midi against midi.
Gillen holds the ball momentarily while everybody catches their breath. He'll Rosie it off to Rich Rita. I say Rosie, it's merely a little underhanded pass to a man in close proximity to you. Now back to Roddy Marino. Marino looking back out front, looks for a cutter, gives it off to Larry Ledoyne. Ledoyne not shooting range. They feed the crease, and that pass knocked down as Virginia continually tries to put the ball in close to a cutter against that zone of Carolina's. Brent Vocal with a nice pickoff. Vocal will pull down behind the goal. Now has his man beat. Well, the recovery by Chris Walker turns Vocal back. Backhanded shot. What a beautiful backhanded shot taken inside by Gary Seibold, backed up by North Carolina. And that was really all Seibold had.
I tell you, that was a great shot by a freshman. Here he is, a freshman, 5'8", 160, behind the back. The only shot, as you said, Bob, the only angle he had over the shoulder. That's a very effective shot if you can hit the 36 square feet. He just missed it.
The secret there, however, was that North Carolina had the shot backed up nicely and got possession. It's Carolina 2, Virginia nothing, 12:40 remaining here in the first half. North Carolina cuts 2 men off the crease and cuts a third man down inside, all the way through, cutting all the way through. Number 10 for North Carolina, Jimmy Kester. Now the ball back out front. Seibold wants to shoot. Shoots and scores! Number 24, Joey Seibel with a high, hard shot. He puts Carolina on top by 3.
We talked about the middies and how they're taking hard shots. Here's Seibold. He's a sophomore with a lot of shot. Honorable mention All-American, and here's why. Beautiful angle. Now watch how the defenseman kind of runs by the goalie. He waits till he gets right where he wants to be, makes the goalie move a little bit off center axis, and then pumps it real high underneath that pipe. Again, mostly high shots. When you got the guns, you can do it. Here's Seibold again. Winds up falling away and just cranks it as hard as he can. Beats the goalie on his stick side, which means it really had a lot of speed on it.
No control on the face-off. One of the players, Steve Crawford, loses his stick. And we're not looking now as stick is being brought to the sideline. We see it was one of the defensemen losing a short stick. He was in on the face-off, and that was number 13, Tommy Haas. He comes in and gets a long stick.
Bob, in a low-scoring game, through the years, we've seen Virginia really dominate games, especially in the playoffs with their defense. Ace Adams is a defensive-oriented coach. He really can control the defensive end of the field. 3 goals is nothing, but he seems to have a lot of trouble getting that offense on track.
Virginia on offense now. Ott Moorman and Scott Garham in on midfield. They put the ball back to Jeff Nicholas. Back to Roddy Marino.
I'd like to see Roddy Marino go ahead and go one-on-one against some of these long sticks. He's got the size, 6 feet back there. Let him take one of these defenders on one-on-one.
Virginia overloading the goal to the left and trying to go backdoor, not with much success. Once again, Mealey with a good save. They pop it back out, trying to get the quick clear. That'll be controlled by Moorman. Mealey has been nothing short of sensational in this first half.
You can tell he's fired up. He's losing his speed on almost every shot.
Back to Nicholas. Nicholas back behind to Roddy Marino. He throws the long pass out near the top of the box over to Scott Garham. Virginia now with basically a circle in front of the cage, one man back behind it, and they're passing the ball around the perimeter. They've got Landon Hilliard cutting down inside, right in front of the goalie, setting a screen. But Carolina not moving out of that zone.
Again, yeah, we're talking about a zone by Carolina, and the more the game goes on and Carolina increases that lead, whatever how small it is, it becomes tougher to score on this defense.
Virginia has seen Carolina numerous times, and Carolina has played a zone against them many times. You think they'd have it solved by now?
Well, again, last time these two teams met, it was the Virginia team winning in overtime, 12-11.
Back out front, back across the top of the box. Now back to Marino. Marino trying to get the overload on the goalie's right-hand side. Doesn't get it. They'll put it back point behind. All the way over here to Jeff Nicholas. Nicholas not in shooting position. He'll take the ball on a trip around behind the cage. We've got 10 minutes and 24 seconds remaining here in the first half. It's North Carolina 3, Virginia nothing in this Division I quarterfinal of NCAA lacrosse.
Virginia's going to have to make something happen here, Bob. It's tough against this zone, but if they can come in and force the defense to come out and play one man a little higher, possibly, then they can dish it off, move the ball twice, and possibly get a shot.
And North Carolina is really totally ignoring the man-for-man situation. They're just camped in that zone until a man goes back behind, looks like he wants to do something with it. They'll send a defenseman back. Now Landon Hilliard sneaks down inside. He's right in front of the cage, but 2 men collapse down inside on him. They're not going to get a pass into that crease area.
You know, by playing the man behind, they're taking away the cutting offense out front. They let you move the ball out front by giving you that 15-yard shot. They say, go ahead and shoot it. We'll save it. And when the ball goes behind, they give the guy some pressure so he can't feed. A very, very well-conceived defense.
Now we see Scott Garham calling a play into Moorman. Moorman can crank it from there. Got a good screen with Hilliard right in front. Hilliard's much bigger than Mealey.
I'll tell you what, if this was Johns Hopkins, you talk about screen, it's exactly what they would do. They put 2 guys on the crease, get a crank out in front, take a 25-yard shot, and just let it go.
Backhanded shot snared by Mealey, and they did a lot of work to get that shot off.
It's too much possession for not enough offense.
No break. Virginia back in the hole pretty well. And the errant bounce pass picked off by Lynn. He overthrows. Now possession going back to Virginia. A good check laid inside by one of the defenders for North Carolina, but Virginia does maintain possession.
As long as you're within 5 yards of that ball, you can check stick on stick as much as you want.
Now we'll see what the call is going to be. It's going to be a timeout called as Virginia's going to try to regroup and get something going on offense.
Bob, I'll tell you what, we've got something very exciting for our home team sports fans. If you've been trying to get Blast tickets all along and can't get it, look at this. Exclusive for the Blast and for HTS. Tomorrow night, the Baltimore Blast versus the Cleveland Force live at 8 p.m. This is really exciting. It's the Eastern Division Finals exclusively on home team sports. It's in Cleveland. But I tell you, the Blast, whether they're playing in Cleveland or in Baltimore, are very tough to see. They sell out almost every game. Real excitement here.
Home team sports, the channel you cheer for, and you can cheer for the Baltimore Blast, as about 12,000 fanatical fans do at every home game in Baltimore.
That's the best of 5 series. They're now up 2-0, so they can clinch it tomorrow and then move on to the championship game.
You won't want to miss that. What are you going to do here, Leaf? Virginia has not been able to move the ball offensively. They've got Bruce Arena down there, the offensive coach, along with Jim Adams. If we take a look at their huddle.
Well, what you got to do is get some shots off. I mean, you know, you only score if you're really hot. You might shoot 50%, 40%. Most teams shoot 30%. And if you don't shoot 10 times, look at the fans. They want a little action, too. They're starting to fill the stadium, and they want to see some shots. If you only shoot 30%, obviously you've got to shoot 10 times to get 3 goals. This team has to shoot more, and they have to shoot more from out front.
And with the play of Tim Mealey, they're going to need some good shots. Tim Mealey has been sensational in the goal for North Carolina. There you see one of the reserve goalies waiting his turn. I don't think he'll get one tonight, but you never know.
There's the sideline, North Carolina. Again, just to reiterate, this team is so stacked. They lost 12 lettermen last year. 6 of them were All-Americans. 3 of them were the top 3 scorers on that team. And there we are in the booth. I tell you, the facilities here at Virginia, Bob, are very, very comfortable.
It's a great place to televise from and a great place to watch a lacrosse game or a football game. Virginia now going back behind. They cut 2 men down inside. They're sagging in a little tighter. They're trying to get at least 2 men in on the crease area to try to break up that zone, to try to have 1 man have to make a slide.
You got to get somebody down in there that's dangerous to make that zone pack in tight and hopefully get a man out front that can get 1 step on his defender.
There's the shot and knocked down. I think it bounced off the crease attackman, Landon Hilliard, so Virginia deflects their own shot. Now picked up by Randy Cox. He's got a man open on the far side over to Tommy Haas. And Haas will bring it up. He's got a 2-on-1 on the far side. Should have no trouble clearing the ball. Rolling in, gives off to Brent Vocal. Brent Vocal will hold the ball momentarily while Carolina goes back on offense.
Bob, the timeout, they certainly did come out with a different philosophy. They got a good shot. That was a good shot from up top. They had a real nice screen on it. Had it not hit the Virginia player, it had a better than 50-50 chance of going in the goal. If they do more of that, they'll be back in this game real fast.
Waiting now for Andy Smith to move a little bit forward. He's on midfield with Steve Martell, number 6. And we'll check the other midfielder in a moment for you. Now Martell takes the ball back behind. He'll go point behind and give it off to Brent Vocal, or he can come to the cage. He's coming to the cage, loses his man, comes up and scores.
Beautiful play by number 6, Steve Martell. And what he did here was simply invert. Normally we've been seeing, here he is on your screen, 5'10" junior. We're going to take a look at this. This is an invert where the midi goes behind the goal, and now he's working against a short stick, a guy that doesn't play the greatest defense in the world. He runs right by him, feeds him for the left hand. Now watch. He'll come up, shoot right when he gets the maximum exposure to the goal before that defenseman clobbers him right there. Beautiful bounce pass, 6 side on the goalie. Very, very good one-on-one move by Virginia, taking advantage of a small sticks midfield in the game.
Number 8, Brian Rogers, the man beaten on the play. Carolina leads 4-0, 7:26 remaining here in the first half.
Interesting note, Bob, not 1 goal has come from the attack. All 3 have been middies and 1 from the defense.
See what that call is going to be. There'll be a loose ball hold called, and possession will go over to the University of Virginia. There's Scotty Boyle from Baltimore, Maryland, veteran official. Wait now while the teams exchange on midfield to get long sticks in. And now we're going to see North Carolina. There's the call of timeout.
North Carolina timeout. We get another break in the action, 4-0, with only 7 minutes left in this halftime. And all of a sudden, a slow-tempoed game takes on a whole different complexion, because if the game tempo stays the same, it'll take another 1 whole quarter to get up that 4-goal margin.
Only 2 timeouts allowed per team per half. Each one will have 1 remaining.
Kind of a surprise, Bob. Again, we talked about the run-and-gun tactics of this North Carolina team. They like to move the ball fast, but they are right now playing the game they have to play against Virginia. Let's not forget that home team sports is home team baseball. Tomorrow night from Rochester, New York, the Orioles go down the farm to battle the AAA Rochester Red Wings. See the stars of the future battle the world champion Baltimore Orioles tomorrow night at 11:30 p.m. At the delayed broadcast, but all the excitement of baseball championship style. You'll see the best in home team baseball right here on Home Team Sports, the channel you cheer for.
And the coverage Home Team Sports has been giving the Baltimore Orioles has been nothing but sensational. A lot of innovation with Home Team Sports coverage of Baltimore baseball, and everybody likes it.
And a lot of great games. Of course, the Orioles now, the whole year becomes important with a 10-game margin that they have to make up against Detroit.
Waiting now for...
You see the defense for North Carolina getting ready to collapse with a Virginia player. He's got the ball. When the whistle blows, they'll move in on him.
They'll put the ball back behind the cage as Virginia will set up their clear. J.B. Meyer puts it off on the side. Now, Carolina in a press ride. I would imagine that's what Coach Willie Scroggs called the timeout for, to set up this press ride, to put a lot of pressure on the University of Virginia.
He's going to start. Here's another shot from behind the goal. This is a nice view of what the goalie has to look at. His team is spread out in front of him, trying to work that advantage situation.
And the press ride works for North Carolina. Possession immediately picked up by Mike Camella.
Willie Scroggs has the benefit. Now the long sticks go out there. It's changing midfielders on the fly. You can change people just like in hockey. They come out through the box at the midfield line, and fresh legs come into the game. But that timeout, Bob, as you said, was very, very well thought out. He wants to make the tempo come their way now. He's going to press Virginia to start running.
Mike Sevilla with the good ground ball. Got possession for North Carolina. Now Carolina has all their starting attack and first midfield back in. And Virginia gets in John Beeger on defense.
You know, Willie Scroggs changed about 5 different men there. He had a whole riding unit in. He had a real press unit in there. A lot of good, fast people.
Riding is probably the most exhausting part of lacrosse because you're chasing a guy with the ball, and he runs 6 or 7 different directions. You got to change direction constantly on him, and it can be very tiring. As Andy Smith has the ball checked away. That pass will get out of bounds. Kept in by Mormon right to the stick from number 27, Gary Seibel for North Carolina. No break, everybody back in the hole for Virginia. They feed across, however, and that pass by Steve Martell does not find its mark.
One pass too many. North Carolina had a chance for a shot. They were 10 feet in front of the goal. They tried to take one more shot to make a fine pass. Didn't work.
Mealey snares it. He'll find an open man near the midfield line. It'll be Joey Seibold. Seibold's going to slow the tempo down momentarily. Over to Steve Martell, number 6. Midfield of Martell, Martinello, and Joey Seibold in for North Carolina. Now 3 men in on the crease for North Carolina. They'll bump out Joey Seibold to get the pass.
Come on, Nick, a lot of patience on those. Let's go now.
Seibold asking what play. What are we going to run here, Ono?
Right behind, back.
Now back behind to his brother Gary. Gary with a couple of good moves, does not come clean.
Let's see if they work out to the midfield, Bob. Again, they're working against short sticks here. Let's see if they can get a shot off.
Seibold can go with either hand, turns to try to feed the crease. That'll get through, and Virginia will gain possession.
Let's see what Ace Adams will do on the substitution. He puts in a regular midfield unit.
He needs
might be
speed to clear the ball.
All right, he's clearing the ball. I thought it was still North Carolina, in which case he was going for... There's Willie Scroggs, coach of North Carolina. A great 5-year tenure he's had down there. He's been in the championships 5 times. And the whole team of North Carolina has only been in history in the championship 7 times. So he's the guy that's brought him into national prominence. We'll have a chance to talk to him at halftime.
We're down to 4 minutes and 30 seconds remaining here in the first half. It's been all North Carolina. They lead 4-0. Now the ball being brought up by Larry Ledoyne. Ledoyne's finding a lot of pressure. Now gets a man up in the middle, John Gillen. He's still not clear as he takes it back across the midfield line, back in the defensive end. North Carolina really putting on pressure.
North Carolina's got great pressure, Bob, but the problem there was in Virginia. They came back across the field in their own half. They got to push the ball up in their half and settle it down.
The legs of Kevin Driscoll get it cleared. Virginia's going to go back on offense. They have not had the ball for the last 2.5 minutes. Now we see the feed, and Ledoyne shoots, and Meyer with another sensational diving save.
Beautiful save. We've got a penalty here. What's the whistle? Let's see. In the crease, illegal procedure, technical. And it's going to go up the other way. It's going to go back to North Carolina. Could have been in the crease, but what a sensational save by Tim Mealey. Now watch this. It comes all the way across to Larry Ledoyne. He's got an open goal. He tries to quick stick it. He tries to bounce it right in. The goal's unintended just about. Mealey comes in, dives back, and knocks it back. Fantastic play. He's keeping him in this ball game. 4-0. North Carolina's winning with 3 minutes and 51 seconds left in the half. Sideline there, but very, very frustrated Ace Adams, Bob.
That was an offside call, which is really a change of possession. The last penalty. Virginia will get possession, and they'll still have to clear the ball. under a press ride by North Carolina. Now we look down, we see, however, Virginia will be going on offense, not clearing the ball.
You know, the goalies, Bob, are just like in most sports, any sports, hockey, soccer. You'll see it in the blast tomorrow. One guy can be hot, one guy can be cold. Right now, Mealey is red hot.
Virginia has not been shut out a half this entire season, but they're in danger of having it happen now. 3:34 remaining here in the first half. They're down to Carolina, 4-0.
Let's see if they get another hard shot from out in front. Last time they had a real nice shot that bounced off their own man. That might go this time.
Rogers over to Rich Rita. Rita fires over top of the cage. It might have been partially deflected. And University of Virginia will gain possession.
That's okay. That's the kind of shot they want to do. Rich Rita, who's a 6-foot, 190-pound sophomore from Syosset, New York. I tell you, what a great shot that was. And he keeps getting a couple more of those. And here's a nice ground view of the field here in Virginia.
Tim Mealey dancing about in the goal. He's on his toes. He is hot. Ball back behind to Nicholas. Nicholas looks out front. They cut 2 men to the crease. Don't get the feed. Here comes the hard shot. And Mealey bounces another one out.
I don't think he needs a stick. He's bouncing those things off his elbows, his stomach.
He has been a wall. Shot backed up by Virginia. Virginia a little desperate here. They've got to get a goal before the end of this first half.
Tim Mealey's a sports psychology major. You think he's got something, kind of new scoop here on sports psychology? Holy smokes.
Here comes Virginia.
Virginia can turn it around, though, Bob. If they get a couple goals here, one here would be real nice. Only less than 3 minutes to go. They need a good shot and a goal.
Nicholas back out front. Over to LeDoyne, over to the side. Back out to LeDoyne. LeDoyne, the guy with a good cranker. They've got a 2-man screen. LeDoyne needs a little running room. Draws a double team. Can't find a man open. He'll put it back point behind. Decides to take the trip with Randy Cox around the cage. Now back out front to Rita. Rita can shoot. Puts it off on the side instead. We're inside 2.5 minutes. And the ball checked away by Randy Cox.
Again, North Carolina inviting that crossfield pass. Virginia tried it. North Carolina knocked it down.
Good hustle by Virginia, however. They'll get possession back in the far corner of the field.
It's deceiving, though, Bob. What looks like a good ball control effort by Virginia is really the defense, the zone defense, doing its job, making them take up a lot of time off the clock and not getting good shots.
There's Boyd Harden again. Boyd Harden ran the ball to the far corner. Could not get possession, however.
Well, I tell you, Mealey is something. He's in there dancing around. He's got it all right now. 2 minutes to go in the first half.
Ryan Rogers looks across the top of the box. They want to get a shot made close. That ball checked away at the last minute. Here comes North Carolina. They feed the middle. Carolina rolling in. No fast break to get it off quickly. Number 12, Mac Ford. He'll settle down while North Carolina gets the long sticks out. They want to go up 5-0 if they can before the end of this first half.
That's exactly right. You're going to see him slow it down and look for sort of a last shot effort like you'll see in basketball.
Here comes Kester. Jim Kester brings it back in, puts it on the side. 1:41 remaining in the first half. Back out to Andy Smith. Andy Smith, 13 goals and 5 assists. He can shoot with either hand. They cut a man off behind the goal. Put it back out front again. Back over to Mac Ford. They feed a man coming off the crease. A Seibel. He turns his kick and scores.
Seibel. Beautiful shot by Joey Seibel. He's a sophomore, but only as a sophomore. As a sophomore, he's still honorable mention All-American, and that's another reason why. We see him score 2 goals. That's his second. He's leading this team. Here it is. We're showing it to you right now. Seibel takes the pass, wheels around. That's his favorite shot. The same shot as he made last time. Falling away right-hander, and he blows it right by the goalie, J.B. Myers. Here it is again. Seibel loves that shot. And that is exactly why this guy has got 10 goals on this season. There's a sideline, a frustrated Virginia team. Joey Seibel gets his second goal of the game. And what a shot, Bob.
Good end zone shot of the faceoff. And you'll see the ball pop out to the side. Sort of lays there. We wanted it to pop out. It didn't. As you can see the score. Carolina leading 5-0. 1:18 remaining here in the first half. They have possession of the ball. Feeding in quickly to Tommy Haas, the big defenseman. The man open on the crease. Here comes Martell. Has the ball checked away at the last moment.
That would have been a sure goal. I'm telling you right now, he was only 10 yards off the crease. The goalie had no chance to save that one, but he dropped the ball.
Here comes Carolina. They roll in and shoot. Backed up very nicely by Mac Ford. North Carolina has dominated this game in a way we didn't think they could.
Absolutely not. Virginia started off dictating the tempo, but North Carolina got the better choice selected shots, and of course 5-0 in most games is not that much of a lead. In this game, I bet you Virginia hasn't even taken 5 shots.
Got to shoot to score. That's an axiom that everyone's aware of, I'm sure. Brent Vogel puts it out to the side. He puts it out back out front.
Less than a minute, Bob.
Quick feed inside to Kester. Kester flips over the crease and off the pole. A beautiful 3-pass shot, and off the pole, North Carolina will maintain possession. They'll have 43 seconds to hold the ball on offense. They'll play for the last shot.
Well, I guarantee you they'll get another shot, and the way they're shooting, they may get 3 more shots because they are really getting some sight going for themselves. They saw J.B. Meyer get real excited because he hit the pipe. All he needs is a couple saves to get him back in the groove.
Good wrap check over the top, takes the ball away from Andy Smith. John Beecher with a very, very good check. He gets possession. He throws it upfield to Lynn. Time running out, however. We're inside 30 seconds here in the first half. Here comes Lynn. He's got to find an open attackman. Ball knocked down at the last minute. Carolina rolling back on an offense. And a good check and a push from the rear, but that's a good call. We'll see now what this is going to be as tempers begin to flare.
I'll tell you what, the first pass, Bob, was intended for another ball player, and it was picked up by the defenseman, and that's why all that melee in the middle. What's the call?
Offside against Virginia. North Carolina will get possession.
You see a real tired John Gillen right there. Another Virginia player coming off. We've got a timeout, looks like, by North Carolina. Watch this. Watch the check. Watch the wild swing. We'll talk about fouls at halftime, but as long as he got wood on wood, he'll get away with that. But if that is an errant slap at all, he's going to have a minute penalty as a slash. The ball's loose right here. Again, check. Wood on wood. Nobody can seem to get it.
Wood, somewhat a kind of a colloquialism at this point. It's aluminum on aluminum, I guess, would be a better call.
Tough to talk about aluminum on aluminum.
Let's stick with wood, right?
There's Willie Scroggs going into this huddle. Right now, he's got things all the way he wants. 14 seconds, that's the first half, and 5-0 is the score. Don't forget, this game was settled in sudden death just about 3 weeks ago to put the pairings and the game at this field.
Both teams huddling now, deciding their strategy with just 14 seconds left.
Bob, don't forget that Home Team Sports is Home Team Baseball. Friday night at 8 p.m., there's more Orioles magic. Live and exclusive from Memorial Stadium as the Orioles battle the Seattle Mariners. Catch all the action live Friday night at 8 p.m. You'll see the best in Home Team Baseball right here on Home Team Sports. Again, another championship series or season with the home Baltimore Orioles.
Other quarterfinal games going on tonight. Penn is hosting Army. Syracuse is hosting Rutgers. And, of course, we're here. And the earlier game, Johns Hopkins eliminated Delaware 10-3. Here comes Carolina. They've got 12 seconds and counting.
The winner of this game goes against Johns Hopkins next Sunday.
Ford needs to feed the crease. 5 seconds, 4, 3, 2. They feed inside. And that will be all the action here in the first half as the ball is going to roll out of bounds. And that indeed is the end of the first half. From Scott Stadium in Charlottesville, Virginia, we've seen North Carolina dominate Virginia. They lead 5-0. Stay tuned. We've got an outstanding halftime show for you. As night descends here at Charlottesville, Virginia, we've seen North Carolina do everything right and Virginia do very little, Lee.
That's right. The tempo was unexpected. The score, not unexpected by North Carolina standards, but the game can still change. 5 goals in this day and age of lacrosse is not very many goals, but Virginia, that is going to have to change their tempo and start taking some shots.
Looking back over the scoring of their first meeting so far this year, North Carolina led Virginia 4-3 at the end of the first quarter. The game was all even at the end of the half. What makes Willie Scroggs so successful, Lee?
Well, I'll tell you, players is one of the things, and I had a chance to talk to him before the game to put into this halftime piece, and let's take a look at that right now. Very pleased today at halftime to have a very special guest, the coach of the North Carolina team that we've been watching this whole first half, Coach Willie Scroggs. Willie, your name has become synonymous with North Carolina lacrosse. I want to know, first of all, how you got that whole unit together so fast to get into the national championships inside of 2 or 3 years.
Well, at least we've recruited a great group of kids, and they're well organized, they're enthusiastic, and we've been playing pretty well. Sometimes people think you do it with other reasons, but I think the big reason the kids have played well.
Now, when you came down there, North Carolina had only been in the championships, the NCAA championships, 2 years. Since then, they've been there 5 years, thanks to, of course, your coaching, but again, the recruiting had a lot to do with it. Where does North Carolina lacrosse go from here? You've had great success.
Well, one of the goals of our program each year is to make the NCAA tournament. I think in Division I lacrosse, that's everybody's goal, and we want to have the kind of program that every year we're going to be one of those 8 teams that's going to have a chance to play for the national championship.
Do you think that's your school obviously is committing some money and some effort into maintaining that high level of play? So do you think there won't be any problem as far as competing with dollars from other schools?
Well, I don't know what other schools do, Leaf, and I'd be foolish if I'd comment on something like that. I know what our school does, and our school is in keeping with what we do for soccer and men's baseball and women's basketball. You know, it's a very broad program, and we're very happy with how we fit into that scheme of things. We think that we can be competitive with some of the teams in the country. We may not do as much as some other schools do, but we think that's still going to put us in a very competitive situation.
North Carolina is, of course, great in the ACC and many sports. Now lacrosse is one of them. How the people in North Carolina taken to the game?
We probably get more fan support than many of the teams that play from Virginia on up. If you come to a game in Chapel Hill in the springtime, you're going to see good, healthy crowds. Whenever the weather's good and we've got a nice game on a Saturday afternoon, we're going to draw very well.
That's fantastic. And, of course, you have the weather to go with you. Let's pretend that North Carolina's not in the playoffs right now. Let's pull you right out of it. You know Hopkins, you coach there, and you've played against both Hopkins and Syracuse, two great teams that line up with yours. Let's take North Carolina out of it. Tell me who you think is going to be there come the championship.
Well, I've always thought in the tournament situation, the team that's playing the best defense and the team whose goalkeeper is doing the best job may have an edge on everybody else. I haven't seen some of the other teams play lately. I haven't seen Syracuse play in a long time, but I have seen Hopkins play, and I know that Hopkins is very, very talented defensively, and they seem to be to really be coming around. I think they're going to be very tough to beat. If their goalkeeper gets hot like he's capable of doing and having games where he's just better than he really is, then they're going to be very difficult to beat.
I saw Syracuse. We did, of course, here on Home Team Sports, we did the Syracuse game against UMBC just last week. A real talented group. They reminded me a lot of North Carolina. A lot of run and gun and talented right down the line. It didn't matter who was in there. If the uniform was on their back, they looked the same, a lot like your team.
Well, I think in Syracuse's situation that they may have one or two players who may have more ability than anybody else has this year with Nelson and Brad Kotz. They're just great players. The kind of players that they're going to do things that you can't expect, and whether you defend them great or not, they're still going to get their points. And then they've got enough talent that if their other kids play well, they're going to be tough to beat too.
A great team Syracuse is. Hopkins, North Carolina is certainly one of them. Willie Scroggs, thank you very much for joining us at halftime. We're going to go back to Bob Smith for the second half.
Well, Willie Scroggs' success has continued up through the first half here. Stay with us. We'll have more at halftime from Scott Stadium in Charlottesville in just a moment. Welcome back, where you see the score: North Carolina 5, Virginia 0. And we talk a lot about rules, and we call slashes, we call pushes and holds and so forth. Earlier, Leaf had a chance to tape a very nice piece for us all about the rules. Now let's take a look at that.
Thanks, Bob. We're going to take a few minutes today to talk about some of the rules that may or may not confuse you, and they probably do confuse you if you haven't watched that much lacrosse. Helping me today will be Pat Regan. Come on in, Pat. Pat played lacrosse for Loyola in high school, and in Baltimore you may recognize some of his moves. But we're going to center the discussion around the stick, because the stick is where most of the penalties start. First of all, the stick is made of hard plastic. It used to be wood. It's a little bit pliable, but it's uniform. It's attached by one screw to a metal pole. Now, because of the uniformity, only one thing really can make a stick illegal, and that's if, when you put the ball in the pocket and push down, if you see daylight over the ball, the pocket's too deep, and a player can have his stick thrown out, and he can get a penalty from that. When you're playing with the stick defensively against a player, there are certain rules that you have to follow. If Pat has the ball, and he's sitting holding it left-handed, I can give him equal pressure and use the stick to push against him. I can use the gloved hand of the stick and my forearm. I can use the other forearm, and I can use the head of the stick against his body. But if I use the middle part of the stick, that's cross-checking, that's illegal. If I use the stick and hit him anywhere in the face, in the neck, anywhere in the head area, that's a slash, that is illegal. If I use the stick with malicious intent or reckless abandon, that means basically like this and come in and... I did that because this helmet's really work. That, again, is slashing, and that is a penalty. If I'm playing defense against a man, I have the right to try to hit the ball, dislodge it out of his stick. I can hit anywhere in there trying to get to the stick as long as he is protecting with his body. If I hit his body without it protecting his stick, again, that's a slash and a penalty. If I go to hold the man, I can hold his stick with my stick at any time, but if I hold his body with this stick, that is holding, and that also is a penalty. The big other thing to remember about the stick and using it against a player is that you can do it as long as he has the ball, and you can do it if he doesn't have the ball within 5 yards of possession. Some of the things to look for. Bob, now that I'm warmed up, I'm going to ask Ace Adams if he needs another midfielder.
Leaf, I didn't see you do anything there you didn't do in any other game you played in, really. I hope Pat doesn't file a workman's comp claim on us. We have a very special guest in our booth with us this evening, and I'll let Leaf introduce him.
This is Mike Burnett. If you've watched lacrosse at all, you know that he was a 4-time All-American for this very same North Carolina team. Took them into their first World Championship 2 years in a row. Mike, a real surprise here. Does your team look like it looked when you were playing for them?
Yeah, they're looking really good. They're getting a good high percentage shot inside, and the defense is playing unbelievable. Timmy Mealey's made some great saves one-on-one, and they're playing that zone, and Virginia's offense is really kind of stymied by the zone right now.
Did you go against a zone when you played down there? It seems like you all were a little more freewheeling, and you got a lot more shots off.
Yeah, Carolina is one of the only teams that plays zone in NCAA Division I, but the offense has been pretty much the same over the years.
You think they're still holding up? They lost, of course, you, and they lost a couple other real high guns last year. The three top scorers.
Well, they have plenty of offensive guns this year with Mack and Brent and Terry Martinella and people like this, and Joey Seibel. Joey had 2 really nice goals in the first half.
On offense, what do you try to do to break the zone as you see the stats? But what would you try to do?
Well, I think the Virginia midfielders should run 3-man plays up top and try to pop out off of picks and get the open shot from up top, because that's the only way they're going to penetrate that, is just getting the good shots from out front.
There you see the difference in the score, the difference in the stats. The stats are all very even except the score, 5-0, and the shooting percentage, of course, because of the score. Virginia has to get more shots, and they have to get better shots off.
Yeah, I think Virginia's percentage of shots have been very low. You know, they've been shooting from up top, and they're getting deflected before they even get to the goaltender.
Is this a typical Virginia team? We're talking about the saves here because of those shots being better for North Carolina. Mike, do you remember this Virginia team? Does this look like the Virginia team you've faced 4 years in a row?
Yeah, they like to be real deliberate on offense and take their time and get the good shot. But the zone, I think, is really, confusing right now.
Are you surprised about the lack of penalties?
Yeah, well, the refs are really letting them play. There's been a couple that they could have called, but they're letting them play.
That's J.B. Meyer warming up on the sideline. He jumps rope to keep his legs warm, and tonight he can use it because the temperature here is probably down around upper 40s, low 50s.
He also plays a mean game of hopscotch.
Good crowd tonight, though. I estimate it to be over 5,000, and considering that school is out here and in North Carolina, these fans really like lacrosse.
Well, it's like Willie Scroggs said at halftime. A lot of these fans down south, saying Virginia down to North Carolina, South Carolina, they're starting, the fans that live, or the people that live in the towns, are starting to understand the game of lacrosse, and they're following the sport, which is really exciting. There's Willie Scroggs behind his players.
Let's assume for a moment that Carolina prevails here this evening, and they go up to play Johns Hopkins on Sunday, a game we'll be covering here on Home Team Sports. Is there some mystique about playing in Homewood? Did you ever feel a little shook going into Homewood?
Yeah, a lot of people feel really scared playing there because the tradition is so great. But when you get into the tournament, the home field doesn't really matter that much, I don't think.
We're going to see one of the goals coming up from the first half as we watch all of the Virginia team assembled.
Of course, all the goals were by North Carolina, and this one starts from behind the goal. You see the Virginia defense sort of waiting for it to happen. And if we can roll it in, all 5 goals coming as the midfielder, coming in and breaking clear, Steve Martell, and he dumps it in after beating his defenseman, dumps it in past J.B. Meyer.
Quick run of the scoring for North Carolina. Steve Martell, 1 goal. Terry Martinella, 1 goal. Joey Seibel, 2 goals. And the defenseman, Randy Cox, 1 goal.
Before action starts, I'm going to thank Mike Burnett for being our guest at halftime. Mike, you had some great years. I enjoyed watching you. I know all the lacrosse fans that are watching tonight enjoyed it, too.
Thank you, Mike. Just about set for the opening face-off of the third quarter. It's North Carolina 5, Virginia nothing. That good end zone shot again. Ball popping out to the side. And controlled once again by North Carolina. Andy Smith snares it. Randy Cox in on the wing, the big defenseman in on the wing on the face-off to help gain control. He'll have to stay in the game till a whistle is blown, meaning a ball out of bounds, shot taken, before he can come out of the game.
Well, I don't think it hurts the North Carolina team, and he's already scored one of their goals. And he's in on the crease right now with that long stick. He can shoot from there. Watch. See if they try to get it to him.
Andy Smith takes it back, tries to put a point behind, allows a pass into Mac Ford. Ford doesn't handle. Virginia alertly checking the ball away. Still no possession. That should go back over to North Carolina.
Second whistle blows. Now you'll see number 24 come in, Joey Seibel, and take Cox back on the defensive half of the field.
Waiting for everyone to get back in position. They signal play to begin. Back out the side once again to Andy Smith. Andy Smith, Steve Martell, Joey Seibel in on midfield for North Carolina. Here comes Joey. 2 moves, double move. Wants his left hand. Turns and shoots wide of the cage.
Something interesting here, Bob. You watch the defense for Virginia. We've seen a lot of long sticks playing defense. Normally, a coach in this situation, especially when he wants to get the ball back, will put all his long sticks in right now. Ace Adams is keeping 2 short sticks in. and trying to get the transition game back in gear. He wants to get the ball, drive it upfield, and get some good shots. He knows he's got to score. He's sacrificing defense to try to get the scoring.
Mac Ford out on attack, and Gary Seibold in, number 27. Little trouble handling there by Joey Seibold. Man cutting across the top of the crease. Martinello turns, doesn't get the shot off, however, as they rotate off the crease. Now back point behind. Feed inside. A good defensive play in there by Kurt Metzler. Checks the ball away. And possession regained by Virginia. Almost a pick off of that pass to the goalie, J.B. Meyer. And here comes Mormon. Mormon will have it cleared as he comes across the midfield line. No break. Carolina back in the hole. Mormon rolls in, dodges one man, wants to shoot, instead puts it back out front. And a shot taken in there by number 22 for Virginia, Kevin Driscoll.
I'll tell you, Tim Mealey can start fired up, but if a couple of those shots go in, that's what Virginia needs. Virginia needs to sink a couple balls in the hoop there and take that edge off of Tim Mealey. He's on cloud 9 right now, playing about 3 or 4 degrees over his head.
You know, in midfield, Brian Rogers, number 8, for the University of Virginia. Over to Scott Garham. Scott Garham has put on sweatpants. He played the first half in shorts. I guess they want to guard against the muscles tightening up here in the chill evening.
Well, without even looking, Bob, we know the defense is the same. There's a nice shot off the crease area, but that's what that defense wants. They want you to force the ball in the middle.
Comes Tommy Haas. Tommy Haas flips over quickly, and North Carolina comes back on offense.
Cox is going to shoot.
Good save by Meyer. He didn't see it pop out, however. Now gains possession. Looks for the quick outlet pass. Finds Scotty Garham.
Should be a fast break here, Bob, because Cox is tired.
Over to LeDoyne. LeDoyne rolling in, but North Carolina back in the hole very, very quickly. LeDoyne turns, and another fantastic acrobatic save by Tim Mealey.
I'm telling you, this guy is hot. Mealey is playing about 3 or 4 light years over his ability. He's a great goalie, but right now he is so psyched up, and that's half the battle, you know, as a goalie.
Quickly clearing the ball up over the midfield line.
Here's a shot of it right now. Watch this shot coming in on Mealey. Watch Mealey. He's poising the goal. He jumps down with his body, smothers it with his body and the stick, sweeps it out like he's doing a little bit of homework down around the house, sweeping the garage out, uses the whole body and leaves his feet. I'm telling you, he is really in charge.
James Kester, number 10, from Garden City, Long Island. He's a sophomore. Rolls back in. Garham shoots and scores. And he beat one of the best midfielders in college lacrosse, Scotty Garham, that time, and scores the first goal of the second half, Carolina now leads 6-0.
I see Mike Burnett giving a little applause over here. He can't hold back the home team rooting, but real nice, sweet goal here. Watch him as he drives in on the one side here with the right hand. He'll pull it back for the left hand. He'll dump it in. He'll see the defense come around his right shoulder. Now he comes in. He has a left-hand shot, drops it right between the legs of J.B. Meyer. J.B. Meyer is a little bit, just as much as Tim Mealey's up, J.B. Meyer is down psychologically. Here it is again as he drives in with the right hand. Watch him tuck the stick for a left-handed shot. He knows he has no right hand because the angle's cut off. He'll come in, pull the goalie out, and drop it right between his legs. Real nice shot. True bounce, only last for true.
Back to live action. The pop-up of the face-off right in the stick of Larry LeDoyne. He puts it on the side. Virginia looking for a quick cut. Can't find it. Puts it back out front to John Gillen. Gillen wants his left hand. Shoots wide of the cage. Backed up nicely by Virginia. They'll come front to the cage. Put it back out front. Now Virginia settles down. Carolina staying in the zone.
The slow tempo, Bob, can take you out of your own personal game. I think that's what's happened to Virginia right now. A lot of these guys that can run better, pass better, and shoot better have slowed themselves down because of the tempo, and they need to get themselves sparked up.
6-0 North Carolina. 11:31 remaining here in the third quarter.
The home field advantage has been entirely wiped out. The crowd's real, waiting. They're very tentative, waiting for that explosion from Virginia.
Number 17, Paul French pulls out and gives it off. Here comes Gillen. He fires. And another kick out by Mealey. Mealey has been putting on quite a show here.
Hey, Mealey is hot. As we see the clear, I was waiting for it to perform here.
I want to remind you, of course, that Johns Hopkins eliminated Delaware today in the quarterfinals. They beat them 10-3. They led all the way. At one point, it was 7-1. And we'll be covering that game for Home Team Sports, that semifinal from Johns Hopkins. Sunday at 2 o'clock is their time, and winner of tonight's game will be the opponent for Johns Hopkins.
Hopkins, of course, seeded number 1 in the tournament of 8 teams. Delaware seeded number 8.
And should North Carolina prevail here this evening, they will be the opponent. They lost to Johns Hopkins during the regular season in one of the strangest lacrosse games in a decade. The score was 4-3, Johns Hopkins.
Well, I'll tell you, we have seen, we've done a lot of these broadcasts over the years, last 3 or 4 years, we've seen some unbelievable games between Hopkins and North Carolina. And believe me, if that's the matchup, get to your TV as fast as you can.
Mealey puts it on the side as he was waiting for some pressure from Virginia. Virginia was standing kind of, I don't know, slightly confused as what they were supposed to do on the ride. Andy Smith overruns it. He picks it up, however, has an open man on the sideline. Gets it in quickly to Steve Martell. The open man rolling in. It's Martinello. Feeds back to the point, but instead they put it over to Andy Smith to take themselves out of shooting range.
Great double team by Virginia. They're all over the field. That can work against you right there. North Carolina had a chance to break that double teaming by going ahead and getting a shot, but they didn't. And Virginia keeping the pressure. They know they've got to drive that ball upfield and get a shot off.
Virginia clearing up. They'll be trapped in the corner when they bring it up to the corner of the far sideline. Instead, go back to J.B. Meyer. Meyer dodges one man. He's in a lot of trouble. Now he throws a long pass that could have been easily picked up. It wasn't. As they try to get it upfield to Keith Healy. Virginia looking very ragged on this clear. Now Rich Rita settles it down. Gets it to Larry LeDoyne. LeDoyne's got to press in, but he can't.
Here it is from behind the goal, Bob. LeDoyne's coming in a little bit of a break. They need to get that shot from up top. Watch as the defense settles in the zone.
See Virginia take it out, put it far point behind. You say point behind, we mean back centered right behind the goal. Now back out to Rita on the side. As we stay with their end zone shot.
We talked about Ace Adams being a defensive coach. Virginia's had a success today, Bob. It's the fact that the close attack has not scored a goal for North Carolina. All the goals have scored in the midfield, and of course, Randy Cox opening up the scoring with one from the defense.
Now the long pass, Aaron, and here comes Carolina. No break. Virginia back in the hole nicely. Dillon getting back in also in midfield. Looking for a cutter, they can't find it now. Man cuts inside. A shot in the pipe deflection on Steve Martell's shot. Carolina with the ball. Gary Seibel puts a point behind, looking back out front. A feed inside, another good save by Meyer. We'll see what the call is going to be.
Part of the strengths of this North Carolina team, Bob, is the fact that they've got a lot of midfielders. Here we go, illegal procedure. He's pointing to
North Carolina.
Let's take a look at it right here and we'll see if we can pick it up. You see the goalie coming out. If he clamps the ball with his foot, watch number 14 come around. He goes in the crease to try to get the ball, and that would be a illegal procedure, in which case Virginia would get possession. The goalie clamps the ball with his foot in the crease. He gets possession of it. You can go ahead and attack that ball, but you have to do it underneath his stick very deliberately and very cautiously.
That was a rule change a few years ago. Prior to that, you could poke underneath the goalie stick all day and try to dislodge the ball. They felt the goalie needed a little more protection, so that rule change was implemented. North Carolina on offense. Rolling back in, unprotected, and scoring for North Carolina. We believe it's number 29. We'll have to look on the check. Timmy Welsh. It is number 29, Tim Welsh. North Carolina now leads unbelievably 7-0. 8:22 remaining in the third quarter.
Here it is. If you start getting into a foot race with this North Carolina team, you're going to lose because they've got midfielders 17 deep on this bench over here, and they're all great. Right there, he just beats his man, comes in, the defender slides in from above. You see him coming from the left. Now watch the defenders coming from the left. He comes in too late. Right when he comes in, the shot goes underneath the goalie. The goalie has little or no chance to cut that play down unless he gets help from the defense.
Timmy Welsh, his first goal of the game.
Bob, let's remind home team sports people that saw our halftime and talk to Mike Burnett. Mike is in the Home Team Sports Open. Number 3, he makes a move on the lacrosse stick, comes up and takes a shot, his patented shot for the 4-time All-American. So watch for him in the Home Team Sports Open each time you watch.
That pass will go out of bounds. The possession should go back over to North Carolina.
We want to remind everybody that Home Team Sports is championship lacrosse because this Saturday afternoon, live and exclusive, it's the NCAA Division III Championships. Catch all the excitement of collegiate lacrosse Saturday afternoon at 2 p.m. You'll see the best in championship lacrosse right here on Home Team Sports, the channel you cheer for. And Bob and I will be there doing that game, and that should be another great game with Hobart going against Washington College.
From Memorial Stadium in Baltimore, the score at the end of 4 innings, California nothing, Baltimore nothing. And a pitcher's duel. We don't have a pitcher's duel here, though, I can tell you that.
We got an injury, Bob. Somebody from the defense coming off. It looked like Cox, but it's not.
Here comes Virginia. Virginia rolling in, loses possession, back up to North Carolina again. Carolina has a fast break. They're coming down 4-on-2. Feed inside, not handled by Mac Ford. That ball will roll to the end line. However, picked up by North Carolina. Good defensive move back there by Virginia, however, as they keep checking the ball away. And a good hit.
That's Pellington, Mark Pellington, 6'5", 215. Was that big Mr. Pellington from the Baltimore Colts days?
All-Pro linebacker Bill Pellington's
Watch
son.
Bill Pellington's son come in right there, number 20. And I'll tell you what, if his dad did that for the Colts, that's why he was one of the great ones right there. So that's 215 pounds coming in there and clearing out that area. Senior Mark Pellington doing his job. He plays that long stick. There's the sidelines.
You hear him calling out numbers, White. That's assistant coach Bruce Arena telling him to call out numbers. They're playing man-for-man defense. Everybody has to have a man. Over the head check, not successful. Mac Ford, good stick work. Rolls in, shoots high over top of the cage, backed up by Brent Vocal.
The last fast break, Bob, was typical North Carolina. That was the way they like to run and gun the ball, and they have over the last 4 years. They come down the fast break and make 2 or 3 excellent passes where it's one-on-one with the goalie at the end of it. Terry Martinello coming into the game on midfield for North Carolina. Brent Vocal calls a play from back behind the goal. They put it out to the side to Joey Seibold. He'll give it over to Andy Smith, number 26, and then over to James Kester. Mac Ford, Gary Seibold in the attack, the Gilman connection. Here comes Brent Vocal coming forward. He wants to beat his man. He puts his left hand. Now it's double team. Comes back right-handed, has the ball checked away. Held it a little too long. Now finds an open man. Gary Seibold comes in. He's clear. Wants to shoot. And it goes off the pipe. We'll see what they call that. That's going to be from the rear, a 1-minute penalty. That will go against Virginia. And this will be the first extra man opportunity of the game for either team. Boy, I tell you, that is probably a record in itself. We'll take a look right now. But watch how Joey should have gone with his left hand. He comes in, he goes left to right. If he had skipped it in his left hand somehow, he might have had a shot. But going to his right hand, he took away almost all the angle. And there it is, right over the pipe. Penalty off to the side out of our picture, but it was a from the rear, which means a push from the rear, which is a 1-minute penalty. North Carolina will have their first extra man opportunity. They set up in a 1-4-1, working at the wing, back out top of the box. Shot taken wide of the cage, and that was taken by Terry Martinello. 1-4-1 allows you to shoot from either wing and from outside. They get a good screen inside with a 1-4-1. Vocal turns and shoots wide of the cage. Excellent shot. I'm sorry, Bob. Excellent shot by Vocal. You see on the left-hand wing, if you take that shot, if you miss the cage, if you miss the 6x6, go ahead and miss it wide so your players can back it up and you keep possession of the ball. Now North Carolina pulls into a 2-3-1 from in front of the goal. 2 men top of the box, 3 men sort of strung out loosely across the front of the goal and 1 man behind. And they'll try the overload from there. They cut a man down inside. Martinello cuts right into the crease. They actually cut back into the 1-4-1 again. Top's back open on the side. Man at that top is open, right? They feed quickly across the Seibold. He can crank it from there if he chooses. He doesn't want to hold the ball too long on extra man. They feed into the pipe. Now backside feed to score. Number 12, Mac Ford, snuck in from the backside as they worked that play to perfection, and he has his first goal of the evening. I tell you, that was the first goal scored by attack, and it came on an extra man play, and what a beautiful play it was as Brent Vocal fed all the way across the crease. What he does is he sneaks in on the left-hand wing, pulls that defense, which at this point is a man down, pulls them into him. Now, where's the open man? The open man's on the far side. He passes it over. Here, we'll take a look at it. See the defense sucked in. Now, watch Brent Vocal. He fakes, holds the defense, fences all the way across to where the open man is. There's nobody covering that far man, and he dumps it right in past the goalie, who is moving and really unable to set up for that shot. Mac Ford with his first goal of the evening, and it's now 8-0 North Carolina on top of Virginia. We've got 5:47 remaining in the third quarter, and I'm really surprised. I'm totally astounded. Well, I'll tell you, when you change tempos, let's go back to live action. We'll talk about it in a minute. And once again, North Carolina deflects the pass. Virginia had a fast break. Now Carolina coming down to the fast break. They're coming in 4-on-3. The shot and a good save by Meyer turns away the shot by the defenseman Tommy Haas, and everybody for Carolina is shooting tonight. They are, and Virginia needs to get a couple goals. That's what they need to loosen up. Right now, the longer this game goes, the more pressure comes on every player. Mac Ford now takes the ball back behind. Puts it over to Gary Seibold. Seibold looks back out front. The attackmen for Carolina run hard with their heads up. Good inside move. And still getting the shot off. No hold called. It was stick on stick. Quick feed in. Brent Vocal shoots from out front. I'll tell you what, the referees are letting this game go. They're really letting the game go beyond the margins of 50-50, actually, but they're letting it go for both sides, which is actually pretty good. Well, in a playoff game, you don't want to have it watch what happens degenerate into a technical foul. We talked about these penalties, Bob. Now watch this. The man comes over. That could have been, the brush was on the head. That wasn't hard enough to be a slash, but when he comes over and he holds stick on stick, that isn't a hold. That's okay. That's legal. If he was holding the body with a stick, in that case, it is a foul.
We have an updated score as we see North Carolina back on offense, taking a shot off to the side. In the third quarter, Syracuse leads Rutgers 6-5. And in the second quarter, this may even be a halftime score by now, it's Army 1, Penn 1.
Army-Penn was supposed to be a tough game. I tell you, Syracuse is very surprising. Syracuse played Rutgers only a couple weeks ago, and it was a real tough game. Tom Hayes of Rutgers, I think, figures he's got Syracuse's number.
They're playing that one in the Carrier Dome. We're here in Scott Stadium as North Carolina goes back on offense. J.B. Meyer with a good save. Meyer has played very well here in the third quarter after being bombarded in the first half.
Only 4 minutes to go in the third quarter. Nice work by the goalie, J.B. Meyer.
That will be a hold.
Like he's fired up. He's trying to light a fire into this Virginia team. And I'll tell you what, even though it's 8-0, a couple goals by Virginia, you're going to see a lot of heady, a lot of good, hard, strong playing. Watch 43, Brent Vocal. He'll come in top here. One hand on the stick. The referee's got one hand on the flag right now. When he sees that arm draped around the neck, the flag comes out. That's a penalty. Virginia's got to do it. Here it is again, holding. Brent Vocal trying to hit the stick, but when it gets wrapped around with one hand, that's the danger of that stick. It has to be, with a one-handed check, it has to be very, very clean stick on stick.
This is man offense for Virginia, their first opportunity. The first serve time penalty called against North Carolina.
Taking no favorites, Bob. I'd love to see Virginia get a couple goals and to get back into a real intensive fourth quarter.
Here comes Virginia. They're working the ball much better than they did earlier. And a long shot, and once again, Timmy Mealey dives out at the edge of the crease. Quick outlet pass. Carolina coming down 5-on-5. No fast break.
You got to think that was an ill-advised shot from up top. But I'll tell you what's happening now for Virginia. They want to shoot so bad. They need to get a goal, and they are hungry to get a good, hard shot. They haven't had that many.
Early in the third quarter, up at Penn, it's Penn 4, Army 2. And another good save by J.B. Meyer. And another good hit by Pellington.
Pellington is the designated cruncher out there, and he's doing his job.
Back over to Meyer. His brother, Bato, was one of the largest attackmen I've ever seen. He played an injury-marred career here at Virginia. When he played, he was very, very good. Now one of the assistant coaches at Virginia. As Virginia, the teams are all even, by the way. Penalty was expired in the exchange.
Bob, as we look at the sideline of North Carolina, just think back to last year. You know, this same Virginia team got into the playoffs really hot, smoking hot. They met a Maryland team that they had beaten handily during the season and lost to that team. Something like 14-5, fell flat on their face. Looks like the same thing's happening right here in 1984.
Could be playoff jitters. Here comes Joe Seibold.
But you know, that's always the danger of having a slow-down offense. When you slow down the horses, it takes them out of their game just as much as you take the game away from the opposing team.
You're down 8-0 with 2 minutes and 50 seconds remaining in the third quarter. Slow down has to go out the window, however. Mealey's going to be trapped at the midfield line. He's looking for an open man, finds it in Randy Cox right at the corner.
Well, we're going to see, you're right, the tempo is going to keep going faster and faster. We're going to see either a blowout or we're going to see the game get back to a tight situation.
Cox decides not to shoot this time, tries to get it back to Terry Martinello. And his pass, a low bouncer, has created havoc in the corner right now. Picked up by Virginia. J.B. Meyer looking for a quick opening. Has one up here in the near side. Quickly up to Beeger. Beeger can't handle. Walker with it. And they'll take it all the way back. And I say all the way back, and that's a penalty. You can't throw your stick to knock down the ball, and North Carolina will gain possession. Technical foul, there's loose ball foul, and really
actually almost two penalties. You cannot throw your stick, period, and you can't play without your stick. So when you throw your stick to get a ball, you've got two penalties against you. But nevertheless, it goes back to the other team.
What do you do if you stop it? You have to run over and pick up your stick anyway, so you might as well let it go out of bounds. North Carolina puts the ball in play. Racing in Mac Ford. Mac Ford coming in, has the ball checked away nicely there by Scott Lynn. Trapped by Myers. A little bit of trouble picking it up off the turf. The AstroTurf. Virginia with a 2-on-1 on the near side. Mishandled by Driscoll. They keep it in play, however. Picked off neatly there by Ray Crosby. Crosby into Ford. Ford feeds a cutter. Now North Carolina pulls back out. We've got 1 minute and 36 seconds remaining here in the third quarter. It's North Carolina 8, Virginia nothing.
And North Carolina's in no hurry, as you might imagine. Up 8-0. They're not going to force too many shots. And they just forced one.
Martinello's shot snared by J.B. Meyer. In on attack now, number 5, David Brown. Or is that number? I assume that's number 6, Roddy Marino.
Look at Roddy. He hasn't handled the ball. He had 4 chances right there and got it 1 time out of the 4. He's not into his game.
The crowd saying, go in, score, do something.
They want shots.
But now you hear the crowd booing a little bit. They want Virginia to shoot from almost any place. That shot is from almost any place, knocked down before it ever gets out. And we'll see a man injured. That ball stopped.
We know where the ball stopped, don't we? Stopped right on number 29.
That's Timmy Welsh. And Welsh probably caught that shot right in the midsection. And the officials will take as much time as necessary to be sure Timmy's okay.
Timmy Welsh out of Ellicott City, for the home team sports fans in that area. That's what you want to do as a defenseman. You want to go ahead and get your body in position to take that shot if he has to hit you. Make him shoot around you. Of course, that time he took the shot, and he's all right, thank goodness. He's up and moving.
Probably knocked the wind out of him.
There it is again. Now, there you see him right now. Timmy goes down. Tim Welsh, a midi, 5'11", 190. Good size, but I tell you, when you take that shot, they can go close to 100 miles an hour, depending on who's shooting it. It doesn't feel too good. I want to remind everybody that Home Team Sports Championship Lacrosse, Sunday, it's the NCAA Division I semifinals. Yep, we're going to be back for that one live at 2 p.m. right here on Home Team Sports, the channel you cheer for. You're going to see this team, North Carolina, in another drag-out battle with Hopkins. We've seen a lot of them, and that is some of the finest lacrosse going.
North Carolina leads with 52 seconds to go in the third quarter. They lead 8-0. And that young man certainly has to be very disappointed, but he's still urging his team on. And Virginia has to score more goals here in the fourth quarter coming up than they've scored in the fourth quarter all season to get back in this ball game.
Another injury, Bob.
Yeah.
We've got number 16 down, looks like, for that's Rich Rita.
And I did not see what happened to Rich.
He came in on that face-off. That's a real dangerous situation. When you face off in the open field, it's a little different than facing off before the game. The reason being, you're in the open field, 52 seconds to go in this third quarter. It looks like hurt in the arm, a slash on the arm. His left arm looks hurt. But what happens is, in the open field face-off, you've got a 10-yard cushion, and it's free-for-all. If you don't get that ball real clean and get out of there, you're going to get a lot of physical contact.
The only thing I can think of is comparable relief is fielding punts in football. And you don't have a fair catch here, though.
You get paid less for this job, too.
And Rich Reed is getting up, and we certainly hope he's all right. He's an outstanding midfielder from Syosset, Long Island.
Now, incidentally, he came in from the wing. See, he came in to deliver the hit. And he became the deliveree instead of the deliverer.
Seems to be all right.
You see the pads. There's a lot of different pads you can wear. He wears the foam covered one on his arms, which lead a little bit of the inside of the bone open to contact. And I think he caught it on the bone.
A lot of times, alert defenseman will check that area, that unprotected area, just between the arm pad and the top of the glove, which is also padded.
I like the
Here
choice
comes
of the word
Carolina. And another good save by Meyer. Almost a rebound. Another good hit inside.
The word from the bench is, Bob, Rich Rita took a shot on the wrist and the hand, so we are accurate in that.
32 seconds remaining in the third quarter, and possession will go back over to North Carolina. 12 minutes and 37 seconds left in the game up at the Carrier Dome in Syracuse. Syracuse leads Rutgers 7-5.
I talked to Tom Hayes about the Syracuse team, and I'm telling you, he had a lot of insights to that Syracuse team. It's not that he had the personnel to go head-to-head with them, but he knew exactly what they did and how to shut them down. Tom Hayes, of course, being the coach of the Rutgers team.
Back over to Mealey. Mealey looks a little bit of pressure, and he gives it off to Andy Smith. Smith has the ball checked away by Pellington. Pellington trying to pick it up, kicks it back into the attack end of the field for Virginia. Little backhanded pass doesn't get the job done, however, and North Carolina will put it back on offense. And they're starting to headhunt out here a little bit. We saw a couple of instances right there, and we certainly hope that doesn't prevail.
Well, I tell you, a guy like Pellington, he's out there to hustle. That's his job. And right now, 1 second left in the quarter.
That will be the end of the third quarter. It's been all North Carolina so far. They lead 8-0. Stay tuned. We've got 15 more minutes of action coming your way on Home Team Sports. University of Virginia 15 minutes away from being eliminated from NCAA Division I playoff contention, and I'm looking over the records here, this fine brochure prepared by Doyle Smith, the Assistant Sports Information Director here at Virginia, and I cannot find a game in recent history that Virginia has been shut out, or for that matter, shut out for 3 consecutive quarters.
Absolutely not. I tell you, this is a surprise, I'm sure, to both teams, but that's what happens again when you start playing with the tempo of these players. They get out of sync and they start playing out of their natural ability.
Randy Cox now looking across to Martell. He's about to take a big hit and dodges that hit into Mac Ford. They have a fast break inside, and a score by Gary Seibold on a picture-perfect fast break by North Carolina.
That's the first offensive goal by the attack on this fine North Carolina team, other than the one scored on the extra man play. Here, we'll take a look at it right now. This is the way this North Carolina team would prefer to work the game. One pass, two passes inside, beating that defense that's sliding for the double team and dropping it right inside of J.B. Myers, right between his legs. And another beautiful shot for a 9-0 lead. It looks like it's going to be a blowout at this point, Bob. This is Willie Scroggs' 5th NCAA tournament, 7th for UNC. Virginia, 6th straight. This is their 6th straight playoff, and as you mentioned, it's got to be the worst margin of so far of defeat.
Waiting now for Carolina to go back on offense once again. They have maintained possession through the faceoff. Harry McCambridge, an outstanding faceoff man, number 23. He'll stay in the game until the next whistle as he gets over to Steve Martell. Martell rolling in. And just about anything that North Carolina seems to want to do on offense now, they're able to do.
You know, there's another axiom in sports that holds true for most sports, and that's the fact that two good teams, you can't consistently beat one team that often.
There comes Martell. He's coming clean. Wants to shoot. Good save by Meyer. Turns that shot away.
And North Carolina has lost to Virginia last time by an overtime. They lost to them last year. So it was
coming
their
in
time.
4 on 3. Feeds across. The shot and bounces high over the cage. A shot by Jeff Nicholas. And certainly Carolina's had the advantage of the bounces tonight. I know that. The ball has bounced over top of the cage, and he might have hurt himself a little bit on that.
I don't think he'll get hurt, at least not for another couple hours, no matter what happens. If his leg falls off, he won't feel it for another couple hours. But I'll tell you, the guy that just took that shot, Jeff Nicholas, in the last game with the overtime win by Virginia, he was 5-2. 5 goals, and he had the winner.
Another save knocked down inside by Mealey as he smothered the ball before it even gets to the cage. Most shots right around the edge of the crease. Here comes North Carolina, bringing it up quickly. Big defenseman rolls in. Gary Seibold gets it, gives it inside to Mac Ford. They feed back inside to Gary Seibold, and a good save by Meyer on the give and go that time. But North Carolina retains possession. Back out front to Mac Ford. He shoots, and this looks like almost like a drill.
This is a North Carolina team that's played the last 3 or 4 years. This is what they love to do. They move the ball in the air so beautifully, and they don't make mistakes. 1, 2, 3, 4 passes. You know, in the broken field situation, when you start making 3 passes, if you can make 3 passes and not lose the ball, you're going to get a good shot. And that's what this team's putting together right now.
There comes Brett Vogel pushing off a little bit, using that free arm to ward off slightly. The referees let him get away with it this time. Over to Mac Ford. And the tempo is picking up more and more for North Carolina. Back out front.
Our producer, Joe Harlan, is writing a book and reading it to us.
Now Carolina with Joey Seibold in possession. It's not been that Virginia has looked so poor. It's that North Carolina has really looked sensational tonight.
Well, again, the close attack has not scored, has not produced for North Carolina. That's a tribute to the Virginia defense, but they've got to shoot.
Seibold wants his left hand, turns and shoots wide of the cage.
Look at this attack for North Carolina, Bob. They're not that big. Mac Ford, Seibold, Brett Vogel, 5'9", 5'8", 5'10", respectively.
They're very quick, though.
They've got to go against, if they keep this victory going, they've got to go against Hopkins next week, and Hopkins, probably the best defensive team in the country.
That pass is going to be checked away. It'll go out of bounds on the far side, and possession will go back over to Virginia. We've got 12 minutes and 7 seconds remaining here in the game. It's North Carolina 9, Virginia nothing.
Bob, again, if you didn't hear, if you came in late to our broadcast, we want to remind you that this is really exciting for all sports fans in the area, in the region. The Baltimore Blast, tomorrow night, the Baltimore Blast versus the Cleveland Forest. We're going to have it here on Home Team Sports live at 8 p.m. That's right. It's a division playoff. It's a final, and the Blast could wrap it up. It'll be on Home Team Sports exclusively tomorrow night.
Those are two teams that the owners don't even like each other.
No, the owner's wife hates Baltimore. Can you imagine?
Shot kicked out to the side. Possession will go to North Carolina, and now Mealey has done it all. He's run a ball out of the end zone and out of the end of the field, however, and gotten possession for North Carolina.
Mealey's hot, no doubt about it, but you know, the next game he goes against Hopkins, if he starts off bad, he could be cold just that fast. We got a score right now with 5 minutes and 38 seconds left in the game. Syracuse is now tied. Rutgers has scored 2 goals to bring it up to a 7-7 game. Holy smokes, upset in the making.
With one of the biggest upsets of the season if Rutgers would eliminate Syracuse, rated #1 through most of the season up to the last week.
Now, they played each other about, what, 2 weeks ago? And it wasn't that bad then. It was like 13-8 or something. It was
13-9.
a respectable score.
Mealey waits for a little pressure, gets it. Gives it over quickly to Chris Walker. We'll see the long distance Mealey has to clear that ball. The lacrosse field, 110 yards long. Now Carolina with a 2-man advantage here on the side. They take it back instead to Tommy Haas. Haas with the bounce pass to Randy Cox. Cox with a real nice move. Takes it across the top of the box. He'll give it off to Jimmy Kester. Get back across the midfield line, and North Carolina works the clear to perfection. Quick inside feed, Andy Smith. He fires wide of the cage.
Wow, look at it. He's bouncing around. He missed the 6x6, and he's mad because he knows that had he hit it, he had a good chance of scoring. He was only about 10 yards off the crease. I pity J.B. Myers. He's had a lot of cannon shots at him.
I don't know what when the last time was that the University of Virginia was shut out. It goes. My record book goes back about 30 years, and they haven't been shut out. But this may happen tonight. We've got 11 minutes remaining in this game.
You know, North Carolina, as good as they are, they've gone through a little bit of a transition too. The Hopkins team that they'll be facing is now coached by Zimmerman, Donnie Zimmerman, who coached the offense for North Carolina when they went to the championship. So that should be a real interesting matchup because both teams know each other.
Ford rolling in, looking for help. Needs a man open in front of the cage. Can't find it. Now flips back out to the side. And Seibold shoots. Seibold is really cranking him up tonight. That's Joey Seibold, number 24. Flipped away quickly by J.B. Meyer, but North Carolina goes back on offense. They're getting the loose ball. They're getting the shots. They have the momentum. And they lead this game 9-0. Unbelievably, 9-0. 10:26 remaining here in the game.
Well, they're all in control now, Bob, and I tell you, looking ahead to this Sunday, if they go against Hopkins, some kind of game that's going to be. Donnie Zimmerman coached this offense for North Carolina. He formed it, and now he's coaching the Hopkins team.
Ooh, that's easy. That was right in the chops, as
folks.
They say,
that was called a slash, and that's called letting the game go.
Quick feed inside, and wide of the goal on a good cut by Kester. Kester has impressed me tonight in his first start.
Well, he's got 1 goal. I'm sure he's happy about that, and he has looked real smooth.
Here comes Roddy Marino. Roddy Marino trying to get the ball cleared. Gets it up quickly to Kevin Driscoll. Now Driscoll gets it over to number 10, Jeff Nicholas.
They got to shoot the ball, Bob. Let's get one off here.
They feed the crease. A shot and a score. You can hear this crowd as Virginia's off the schneid, as they say. Paul French with the goal as he cut off the crease toward the ball, turned and shot, and beat Mealey. And Mealey was a little down in the mouth, but he certainly can't feel that way. There are very seldom shutouts in college lacrosse.
I tell you what, this is a long time coming. Watch Paul French. He's on the crease. He takes the feed right here. The defensive check just didn't quite get enough stick, so French was able to come out by himself and put one right underneath Mealey. Mealey, who's been diving for every ball every time it's shot, just missed that one, lunged for it. But I tell you, Paul French was overdue. Playing crease, he's a senior, and you know he wants to get a couple more before this game's out. This will be his last game.
9-1, Carolina on top, 9:42 remaining in this game. No control. Mormon going against about 3 Carolina blue jerseys in there. Still no possession. Mealey picks it up. He gets hit in the back and knocked down, and they're saying play on. That's the term they use, play on, play on. Open goal. Driscoll wants to shoot. Turns and scores. All right, there's a lot of activity. Look at the fans from Virginia. They're all up and cheering. This team now has scored twice in the last crowd is really on its feet now. Holy smokes. Virginia trailing by 7. We're going to take it back from the rear line of the field when the goalie, now watch Timmy Mealey. He's gambled now. He's off the field. And watch the beautiful hit there by Jeff Nicholas. He comes in. He wants to make something happen. That's a legal hit. He knocks him off his wheels. Now watch here. There's another hit. They're going to get the loose ball, and who comes up with it? Right there, number 6, isn't it? Roddy Marino comes in and feeds up front. Now watch, nice fake, 1-2, boom. Pumps it right into the open net. And just like that, Virginia scored 2 goals in 30 seconds. That's the excitement of lacrosse. It can happen that fast, Bob, and it's not over yet. Here comes Mormon. No fast break. Carolina back in the hole. And Carolina now beginning to draw back a little bit. They've got possession. You still got to use your head, Bob, and Virginia's got to pass the ball through the air and get a good shot. They can't do it themselves. Listen to this crowd. They are in this game. We've got 8:52 remaining in this game. Virginia trails 9-2. A feed inside, and a great save by Mealey. Mealey snuffs Paul French, the All-American creaseman. That could have been a big goal.
Holy smokes, that could have been a big one. They could have scored 3 in the span of 60 seconds, but Mealey stopped them.
Quick feed inside. Coming in the defensive Pat McDonald. He wants to give it off. He'll pull back out. I think Carolina's going to slow the tempo down here a little bit, regain possession, and try to put another goal on the board before Virginia gets possession back. Backhanded shot. Nice save by Meyer. He read that one all the way. But he hustles the pass out, and it's going to go out of bounds, or picked up by North Carolina. Kept in play. And we'll see. Possession will go over to Virginia.
8 minutes left of the game. Bob, I want to remind you that the Leaf-Elsmo spread was 6 goals. I was laughed at, scoffed at before the game, and here we are with a 7-goal margin, and I'm smiling. No, but it's been a good lacrosse. This we like to see. We like to see Virginia come out of their shell because their athletes are just as good as North Carolina. They've been held back the whole first half, and now they're starting to let the juices go.
Larry LeDoyne trapped on the far side. He'll come with a long clearing pass over to J.B. Meyer. Meyer looking inside, can't find an opening, has to give it off to a defenseman. That's Lynn. Lynn has it checked away. Picked up by Randy Cox. Quick flip into number 2, Mike Camilla. Camilla to Gary Seibold. Seibold wants to run and shoot. Another great save by Meyer, and Meyer certainly has played creditably here in the second half.
Meyer looks good, but what Virginia has to do is pass the ball. North Carolina's moving in the air, so does Virginia have to move in the air.
No break. Man inside. Backside. Mealey is crunched again.
I'll tell you right now, Mealey's not going to get hurt. I don't care if they take off his arms.
No break coming up. Gary Seibold puts back across the backboard. Everybody back in the hole nicely for Virginia.
What you can see in that last fast break is exactly what we just talked about. If you move the ball in the air, that's the best way to get the overload, to get a good shot on lacrosse. Too many times now, Virginia has tried to take it up one-on-one, and North Carolina's double, triple teaming it.
Brent Vogel looks for a cutter, can't find it. Picked up there by Scotty Lynn, number 21. Vogel coming back out front, goes to the overhead check. They feed inside. Seibold cuts off the crease. Back out front, comes around, and a nice slide inside. They'll take the ball away from Seibold. He tries it, he's on his knees, tries to shoot in the cage. Backed up over there by Mac Ford.
Boy, was that nice. J.B. Meyer came out. He elected to come out and double team Seibold, but Seibold somehow got the shot off had he hit the 36 square feet. Let's see if we can see it. Now watch J.B. He comes out of the goal. He's making a charge to double team, but somehow Seibold comes up. Even though 2 guys are wiping him out, he dumps the ball off and just misses the goal.
North Carolina back on offense. Back to Andy Smith. Smith looking for some help.
That's the gamble Virginia's going to have to take, Bob. You'll see him double and triple team here. They've got to get the ball back.
Over to Martell. Martell pulls back out. Carolina being more deliberate. Martell comes clear. He can shoot. He's in shooting range now. Flips inside to Gary Seibold. And that time Meyer didn't see it, but it got by the cage and backed up by North Carolina.
Meyer just got a piece of it. It trickled by the left pipe.
Back out to Joey Seibold. They'll feed on the side. 6:10 remaining in the ball game. It's North Carolina 9 and Virginia 2.
Willie Scruggs wants his team to settle down, get good shots now. Ball controls what he wants with only 6 minutes left.
Nice cut by Steve Martell. Good left-handed shot. Backed up on the far side by Gary Seibold. Hold up play now as a new unit comes in on midfield for North Carolina. Terry Martinello, number 14, number 29, Timmy Welsh. And we'll see who rounds out that midfield when they turn our way.
Coach Ace Adams putting a defensive midfield in there of a regular offensive short stick midfield. He wants to get the ball, run it upfield, and get a shot. He wants the offense.
Seibold has it checked away. They get it out quickly, though, to number 29, Tim Welsh. And another backhanded shot attempted there by Joe Seibold, and he is wiped out. Here comes Virginia.
Beautiful fast break.
But a check laid in at the last minute by Kester takes away any offensive impetus that Virginia might have had. Now Mormon trapped over in the corner. He's trying to find a man in the middle. The ball picked off by North Carolina. North Carolina all over the field. Here comes Joey Seibold. Has a man open on the far pipe. Back inside the middle. Into Brent Vogel. He turns. Myers reads it, puts it out. North Carolina now back on offense again. Gary Seibold wants his right hand. Can't get it. Puts it inside. That pass not handled very well by number 14, Terry Martinella. And the action has been fast and furious here as time runs out in the fourth quarter. We've got 5 minutes remaining in this ball game. I think the midfield unit in there for North Carolina now is kind of tired. He's been up and down the field twice. It's about a 175-yard run.
Willie Scruggs has the horses, but he can make the substitution right now. They're all a little bit tired.
While we're waiting for J.B. Meyer to set up the clear, with 1:56 left in the ball game, it's still Syracuse 7, Rutgers 7. I'm sure everyone thought Syracuse was a shoo-in to make it to the finals, but they're in serious trouble at the moment up in the Carrier Dome. 4:29 remaining here as the ball checked out of bounds, and possession will go back over to North Carolina. North Carolina, I think, has taken the steam out of the offensive thrust Virginia had there at about the 6-minute mark.
They should be able to, at least, if Virginia scores some more goals, I don't think you're right, Bob. I don't think you're going to have enough time to make up that 7-goal margin. I tell you, I hate to see Syracuse lose because they're such a great team. We saw them on Home Team Sports last Friday, and boy, are they loaded.
Well, they're an exciting team. They move the ball with a great deal of speed, shoot from all over the field, and they're a great spectator team, I might mention. And the ball checked out of Joe Seibold's stick, but North Carolina maintains possession, now rolling to the sideline. Oh, and some really fierce hitting going in on the near sideline. We'll see it again, and sideline cameraman down there taking her life in her own hands. And we're corrected by our director, Dar Silver. It's camera person. Now back out front to Andy Smith. Meanwhile, at Memorial Stadium in Baltimore, at the end of 5, the Baltimore Orioles won, the California Angels nothing.
All right, Birds.
Beating back out front, 3:42 remaining. Yeah, Lee.
Unfortunately, the Orioles keep winning, but right now we've got Detroit 6, Seattle. Was it Joe?
That shot bounces high over top of the cage.
6-1 in the 6th inning for you baseball fans. Detroit's up in the 6th inning.
They'll lose when they come to Baltimore, Lee.
Yankees are winning 3-2 over Oakland, which is in the 4th inning and has little or no consequence to these battling Baltimore Orioles.
Carolina rolling back in on top of the box. Ray Crosby.
Can you imagine, Bob, as good as this North Carolina team is now, can you imagine they graduated 6 All-Americans last year? Whoa!
And that shot was taken over the... They tried to shoot that time over the top of Tim Mealey's stick. He was coming out about 10 yards outside the cage, and figuring Tim Mealey's only about 5'8". Let's see if we can lob it over his head. Well, a little too much impetus on the ball, goes out of bounds, backed up by North Carolina.
You know, what happens is in your riding situations, downfield, the goalie comes out and sort of fakes like he's covering, or kind of area covers a couple men down that end of the field. And if the attacking team or the clearing team is smart enough, they can lob one in that area and maybe get a cheap goal.
North Carolina clears the ball, bringing it up to Tim Mealey. Mealey's going to spend a lot of time back there. He's in no hurry to bring it up. Carolina leads 9-2. 3 minutes and 12 seconds remaining in the ball game. Now over to Chris Walker. Walker and Mealey playing catch momentarily. They have a man open on the near side. They have a 2-on-1 here on the near sideline, and a man breaking down the middle, Steve Martell. Here comes North Carolina. They'll try to work a backside feed. Then they'll put the bounce pass out to Joey Seibold. We're inside 3 minutes here in the Division I quarterfinal, and North Carolina is going to go on to meet Johns Hopkins Sunday at 2 o'clock in the semifinal up in Baltimore. And Home Team Sports will have all that action for you live from Homewood Field. Quick feed inside, and Martell will score. Beautiful feed on a quick cut by Steve Martell, his second goal of the evening. And Carolina breaks double figures. They now lead Virginia 10-2.
Number 6, Steve Martell. The assistant, number 12, Matt Ford.
With Mike Burnett here in the booth with us. Mike, take this shot with us and take a look at the cut by Martell. Set play, or Martell just looking for the open spot?
He just beat his man inside, and the goalie was way out of position. He just hit the open cage. It was a nice play.
Not unlike some of the things you used to do. Mike Burnett, number 3. The next time you see the Home Team Sports Open roll in on a show for you, watch for number 3, the lacrosse player in the white jersey. That's Mike Burnett. Still no control on the faceoff. Now picked up by Rich Rita. Rich Rita looking inside, feeds backside. The ball does not get through. Now over to Tim Mealey. He finds an open man up here on the near sideline. Kevin Gilligan. Gilligan tries to clear it up to a defenseman, and the ball still rolling kind of loosely now back towards the Virginia goal. Now picked off nicely by Jeff Nicholas. Nicholas looks inside. Nobody breaking for Virginia, however. So Nicholas takes the shot, saved by Mealey.
Great save by Timmy Mealey there.
Virginia looks tired at this point. They didn't break to the cage when the loose ball was picked up, and that could have set up a fast break situation for them. North Carolina going to hold the ball here, Mike, or do you think they're going to try to score a few more goals?
I think they'll try to do the same thing we're trying to do all day long. They're just going to work the ball, look for the good shot.
A few reserves in on midfield now for North Carolina, and you can't really take the sticks out of those guys' hands. They want an opportunity to score also. Put the ball back behind. Mac Ford looking out front, starts his move. Beats the over-the-head check. We've got a minute and 21 seconds remaining here. It's North Carolina 10, Virginia 2.
Here comes one.
Inside.
Nice save.
Mac Ford cutting the crease. At what point do you decide, when you're standing behind the cage, the ball's inside, what point do you decide to cut the crease like that?
Right when the man behind gets eye contact with you, so you know that he can get the pass to you. Eye contact has a lot to do with it. If you see your cutter coming through, you want to get him the ball if he's open.
4 minutes left in the third quarter up at Franklin Field. It's Penn 6 and Army 4. And the Cadets are battling back. It's been a close game all the way, as has been the game in Syracuse. Here, unfortunately, however, it's been a rout most of the way. At one point, North Carolina led 9-0, and a few of the fans now are starting to filter out.
Bob, can you hear me?
Yeah, Leaf. Leaf goes down to the field.
I tell you, the excitement, as you might imagine, is starting to build on the North Carolina side of the field. They want to get in that semifinals. They want Hopkins. And we'll be covering it this Sunday on Home Team Sports.
And you're looking inside once again. Has to take a long, high outside shot. And backed up, however, this time. Now they see we give it over to Tim Mealey, as Mealey was closest to the ball where the point where it went out of bounds. And so alertly again, North Carolina gains possession. At this point, Virginia looks very tired, not showing a lot of effort on offense. And I guess they'll wait till next year. And they graduate 9 men off of this team, so they'll have quite a few of these young men back for next year. We're inside a minute, 50 seconds remaining in the ball game.
Tim Mealey's played real well all night long. He's had some unbelievable saves.
You've seen them, I guess, a number of times this year. Your alma mater, North Carolina. Has he played this well all season, or is it sort of a streaky goalie?
No, he's played well all year. I think he's leading the country in save percentage. And he had a great game against Hopkins in that low-scoring battle up there.
And that was a matchup of the goalies. Larry Quinn also had a sensational game.
Yeah, he did play very well.
Of course, Larry Quinn, the goalie for Johns Hopkins, we'll see him next Sunday, along with Tim Mealey and all the Tar Heels of North Carolina. And there you see Coach Ace Adams. He has been here before to the quarterfinals and the semifinals. In fact, has been in the final and has not won. So Ace will go back, think it over, and be back next year with another outstanding Cavalier team. Waiting now for possession to be given over. And North Carolina will go back on offense for the last time, probably. 37 seconds remaining here in this ball game.
There haven't been too many penalties tonight. The refs really let them play.
One penalty over in each side. North Carolina 1 for 1 on extra man. Virginia 0 for 1. And you won't see many games where there are only 2 penalties called possession penalties. Quick feed inside. A shot and score by Mac Ford as he picks up the loose ball. His second goal of the game. And at this point in time, it's just icing on the cake. Carolina leads 11-2. We've got 20 seconds remaining here in the game. Want to take this, Mike? It comes back up again.
This is their extra man play. They're trying to feed the crease, and he just missed it, and the ball gets through, and Mac picks it up real nicely. Nice alert play, and he just fires the lower corner.
Bob, could he have shot a little sooner?
Well, he picked his spot, and he found it.
Yeah, Lee.
I just wanted to ask, go ahead and let Mr. Burnett tell us what Pete Vogel has meant to this, the All-American who graduated last year. What has he meant to the offense of this North Carolina team?
Well, he's really got the continuity going for the offense. Last year, we didn't really have much continuity, and he's got them all playing together as a unit instead of just a lot of individual effort. They've got a lot of good plays where they look for certain people like Joey and Terry Martinello. He's been a real good motivator.
We've got 9 seconds remaining in the game. Virginia has to get a shot off here if they want to score one more time. The ball is going to go out of bounds as the clock runs down. And that will be the end of the ball game. University of North Carolina has defeated Virginia 11-2. It was North Carolina from the outset of the game. They led as much as 9-0 at one point. Virginia did not score until the fourth quarter. They scored 2 goals in a quick flurry at about the 6-minute mark in the fourth quarter. As we look at Coach Willie Scroggs, he has to be very, very pleased. Stay tuned. We're back with some post-game interviews in just a moment. We have just witnessed an offensive display by the University of North Carolina as they totally dominated the Cavaliers of Virginia in the Division I quarterfinal playoff. They annihilate Virginia, quite frankly, 11-2. Virginia never in this ball game as we see the teams lining up for the traditional handshake. a carryover from the Olympic Games. And North Carolina will go on to meet Johns Hopkins next Sunday at 2 o'clock. You're going to see a picture of a young man that really tells the whole story for Virginia. Defenseman John Beezer, after the last shot taken by North Carolina, and he realizes it ain't going to be this year. UVA stick on the ground, and they'll pick it up again, carry it into next year, and the University of Virginia, I'm sure, will have another outstanding NCAA lacrosse team as they have had for so many years. Let's run the scoring quickly for you. Mac Ford, 2 goals for North Carolina. Gary Seibold, 1. Steve Martell, 2. Terry Martinello, 1. Joey Seibold, 2 goals. Timmy Welsh, 1 goal. Jimmy Kester, 1 goal. And Randy Cox, the defenseman, 1 goal. The only 2 goals scored for the University of Virginia. Paul French, 1 goal. And Kevin Driscoll, 1 goal. Mike, what do you see as being the strategy in Carolina versus Johns Hopkins on Sunday?
Well, in the first game of the year, I think both teams are really afraid to make a mistake. And I think the semifinal game is going to be wide open. Both offenses are going to show what they have, and I don't think it's going to be low scoring like the first game at all.
Even with the 2 good goalies.
Yeah, but I still think that the offensive players are really going to open it up and go for the goal.
Now let's go down to the field and Lee Felsmo.
Thanks, Bob and Mike. Mike Burnett's up in the booth. Timmy, you know that boy, I'm sure. You play with him.
Very well.
A game like this, with all the stuff riding, all the marbles riding, it's the playoffs now. Slow tempo. They come out and really deliberately slow the tempo down. It's the goalies that take all the heat. What got you going? You were just dominant in that first half.
I was just really psyched to play Virginia. I was so mad from last time. I was just so anxious to get out here. Plus, when they slow it down, they shot a lot of outside shots, and I think that's my game. Last game, they got a lot of inside shots, and that's where they got all their goals. So.
Is that your style, Timmy? Leaving your feet? You left your feet 5-6 times in the first half.
Yeah, well, I was jumping around the screens just trying to get the ball, so I guess it was tonight.
Best game this year, possibly?
Possibly.
Next week, going against North Carolina, or this Sunday, actually. We're going to carry it on Home Team Sports. How do you feel about Hopkins? Tough game.
Yeah, well, it was a tough game last time, so I'm sure it'll be a great one this time.
What do they do differently than Virginia that you look for? A lot more outside shots. They like to go one-on-one. I know that. You're looking for a lot tougher shots coming at you high, maybe?
I think it's about the same kind of game. They shoot outside a lot, and so that's what they like to do, and we're just going to be waiting for them.
All right, great game. Bob, let's see if we can get Willie Scroggs over in a minute. Why don't you kick it around for a couple seconds?
Mike, I was surprised that Coach Scroggs called a timeout, went to a jump ride in the second quarter, resulted in a goal. How often will he do that?
He has quite a few different rods that he'll use, the pressure rods when he really wants to create a turnover, and just worked really well for him on that particular play.
When you were in there and you had to ride the goalie or ride the defenseman, what was your technique? What did you do? Try to just shut him off completely from getting the ball?
Well, you go to the first pass, and then you try to shut the goalie off right after he gives the ball up.
Now let's go back to Leaf.
Thanks, Bob. We're with Willie Scroggs. Willie, we've been here before. You're back into the semifinals. It's got to be kind of exciting for you. Did you ever have an inclination that the game would be that slow in the first half?
No, we didn't. I think it was 1-0 after the first quarter, and that surprised me. We were, very concerned about Virginia's firepower and their ability to score goals. We wanted to face off better. We wanted to play better defense. We wanted to scramble between the restraining lines better, and I think we did. I think we faced off much better tonight than we did the first time we played them.
Did you come out in the second half and do anything differently than when you knew the tempo was slowed down after the first half, and still was only 5-0? Virginia still had every right to get back into the game.
Oh, yeah, 5-goal lead is nothing. We knew that Virginia was going to start to come after us. We told our kids to be patient and stay wide, and that they'd start coming after us, and if they wanted to run with us, we were hoping they were going to try and run with us in the second half.
You got a great match coming up Sunday. We've seen you before play Hopkins, some of the best lacrosse ever played. What do you look for this week?
Well, Hopkins is a very talented group. We're going to have to play good defense. We're going to have to score, and we get our opportunities. We're looking forward to going to Baltimore.
Good luck to you on Sunday. We'll see you there at Home Team Sports. Back to Bob.
Okay.
Thank you, Leaf, and we're all looking forward anxiously to Sunday. But before Sunday, we've got a game on Saturday. We've got the Division III Championship, Hobart College versus Washington College. That'll be coming your way live Saturday at 2 o'clock in Geneva, New York. Let's take a quick look at the stats. Mike, along with us, please, and you'll see shots there. North Carolina with a big edge, 53-32. And if you don't shoot, you can't win the ball game. Surprise here on the faceoffs.
Yeah, they did a lot better on the faceoffs today than Carolina did, but the ground balls is not on there, and I think that was the key to the game. Carolina was all over the grounders throughout the game.
It seemed like all shots were backed up by Carolina. Errant passes, Carolina had a guy backing up the guy who missed the ball, so they backed up the errant pass and got the ball back into play. They probably, possession-wise, we don't keep possession time as they do in football, but possession-wise, Carolina probably had the ball about 60% of the time.
If Coach Peter Vogel really has done a great job with the offense this year, they're really working working together with each other nicely, and it showed, paid off for them tonight.
How many shots do you think it'll take to beat Johns Hopkins?
Willie's try to get us to shoot at least 50 or 60, you know, and hopefully we'll get that many this weekend.
It's been a great evening here in Charlottesville, Virginia at Scott Stadium. Not a great evening for the University of Virginia, unfortunately, but a great evening for North Carolina and also for lacrosse fans who like to see outstanding college lacrosse. So for Lee Felsmo, I'm Bob Smith, and also we want to thank Mike Burdett for sitting in for us. Our producer's been Joe Harlan. Our director has been Dar Silver. And once again, the final score, North Carolina 11, Virginia 2. Have a good evening, everybody.